All right, we're here with Marcus, a longtime friend that I've known through the industry. Here to chat, chop it up. This is my first one, so props to you for helping me out and coming and making sure I got it. Test it with you.
For sure. Happy to help.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a way bigger spiel, dude, but I totally fucking spaced it. But maybe I'll edit it in at the beginning, like sit here and write it out. But yeah, this has been a long time coming. I tried to do this a long time ago at a grow and showed up with a filmer that didn't have any of the batteries charged. I mean, he wasn't really a filmer. He was my barber, and I was talking to him, and he was like, yeah, I want to film, I want to do it. So I left him my camera, the wireless mics, everything, and I was like, play with him for a couple weeks, and then meet me over here, and let's go for it. He showed up with everything dead and was like, I didn't want to play with it because it's yours. And it's like, why would I leave it at your house for a couple weeks to learn it?
If you weren't going to learn
If you weren't going to, or play with it, at least show up what it charged.
Yeah,
Nothing
right.
was charged.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't trying to bash him, but respect. But that was just, I started from there. Been trying to think.
Step one.
Been trying to film on the bike with the GoPro. And I think that's a good idea. But if you had two people riding, because first you would have to mount, you each would have to have one mounted.
Yeah.
Then mic'd up so you can have the audio talking. But then I feel like your bike would have to have a GoPro on the side somewhere, like on the swing arm, for each other. So when you're doing wheelies, he can just ride next to you, or you would need him on the side of your helmets or something.
Yeah.
Because you would need a couple extra angles.
Yeah, you need 2 or 3, and then you almost especially when you're in the sense of wheelies, unless you guys are consistently staying on the same side of each other, it's you almost need one on both sides.
Yeah.
So it's you probably need 4 cameras on the bike, 1 on you.
Yeah, then it would just be a lot. But I think it would look really great if you were having fun, and all the angles. Because
I've never seen a blog where it's more than just one person talking to themselves. You know what I mean? No one's ever got a second person with them where they're oh yeah.
No, and I try to do it. I film every day on my way to work and home, just in case something happens. The other day, someone almost fucking flipped a bitch in front of me, and I got it. One time I crashed, I got it. Not bad, but just a little front brake, okie doke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to talk to myself while I'm riding, and it's just it's hard, dude. You get sidetracked, or I'll be listening to the music, and yeah, if I'm talking on the mic, then I don't really feel like I'm concentrating 100% on the road.
No.
Because you're gonna be do, and start really thinking more about what you're saying than writing.
And singing to yourself and doing that kind of thing. Yeah. A lot of it's not out loud either. It's mumble, mumble. Yeah. Mumble, mumble.
Yeah. When I'm writing,
not a lot to get.
I'm more listening to the beat of the music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you meant when you're writing and talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'll say something or something will happen, and then it'll be 3 seconds. And then I'll respond kind of to what happened
forget
a few seconds ago.
Or forget you're supposed to be talking.
Yeah.
It's
you're oh, fuck, that was a pothole back there that I just missed. Or
yeah.
When you see the fence taken out on the corner houses.
Yeah.
I would never want to live in a corner house, dude.
No.
Every time you drive by, dude, someone's corner house is smashed into.
They got concrete barriers and
yeah, I would have what the federal building has, the big old metal poles into the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I tried GoPro, all that, practice, and then I moved into this house, and since this, garage was built like an office and set up for it, I was time to finally go for it, dude. And just to be able to talk to my friends, shoot the shit, learn something. Yeah, I'm glad it's finally happened. It's here. Because I've tried to do it with a couple friends too, and yeah, you just got to go for it yourself and lead the way, I feel sometimes you're scared and well, for me anyways, I want to just either have someone to do it with me so I feel okay, we're going for it, rather than just just do it yourself. And then if you can do it, then you can bring people along,
Oh, yeah. You can always have guests and always do stuff like that.
But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are just scared to make that first jump.
No, for sure.
I get it. You're online, people can criticize,
Yeah, I mean, that don't really bother me because, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't think I have I mean, I guess we're all different, but, yeah, I'm sure, I guess a couple people are going to go for it, but, right. I mean, I can criticize back too, Right. We all have our opinions,
Do that.
yeah, and just kind of try to do like graffiti, weed, anyone that has a crazy life experience or story. I mean, I'd like to do authors, like fighting too, like fighters. Just not really drama. And I feel like that's like when you get a lot of bad feedback is if you start to create content that fuels that, like
Yeah.
if the people watching you are always watching for the latest drama, then obviously it's going to be toxic. But if people are watching you to see what they can pick up and learn that day, it's like most of them aren't going to be hating on it. I mean, what? Oh, I didn't learn nothing. I mean, teach me something
Yeah,
more.
right.
Like, it's not going to be
It's a
like,
lot more healthy for
yeah,
sure.
they're not fueled into this whole drama of like that only lasts a week or two,
Yeah.
Like,
Flavor of the month, or the week.
I want to talk about something that can, last a while. So fuck it. Let's get into it. Um, where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I mean,
And you can make all this part kind of fast and then just get maybe to like first time you started smoking and then get into the good stuff.
for sure. Born and raised in Bentonville, Arkansas, middle of nowhere, where Walmart's from. Um, Started smoking weed when I was like 11. Uh,
Me too.
was at a party. Like my buddy's brother was way older than us. He had his girlfriends with us. They're the ones passing us the joint. And it was like we were just trying to look cool. So we both smoked and then sat there kind of just dumb high for a little while and trying to be cool in front of the older kids. And then it just kind of I don't know turned into the best way to relax.
No, for sure.
Especially when you're skating as a kid, jump down a 10 set and smash your face on the ground. You're like, yo, give me that joint.
No, right? And then just like after skating, just the whole
But yeah,
communal part about it and just like,
super ritual.
you know what popped up on my advertise? That movie Arkansas
Oh, yeah.
with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that remind you of Arkansas?
A little bit. A little bit. Arkansas was pretty wild. But I mean, I was a kid, so I didn't really experience a lot of like the parts that were wild. It just kind of was going on around you. You just didn't really know it.
I can imagine like the backwoods, like, because in that like middle stretch, I think Missouri and Arkansas starts to get a little more, but they say like only 1% of our population lives like in like smack dab of the middle
Yeah.
of
I could see that.
our
It's
nation.
pretty sparse. Like you're not you don't like I lived on a road, there was 3 people on it, like 3 houses. It was like a mile long road, mile and a half long road.
In Washington, where I grew up, it was like that. Like it would just, yeah, the cement road, like the highway or whatever, and then a big long dirt road that would just go way down, and then there'd be like a house here, house down over here.
Yeah. Like we
And,
lived
like,
on a Chat Rock road, which is that white rock, which like I don't think I
oh,
know anyone in Cali that I talk to unless they're in construction. It's like, yeah, Chat Rock. They'd be like, "What's Chat Rock?"
is it because your environment there?
Yeah, just
Like
white.
it
I mean,
rains and it lasts better?
I guess. I mean, it was just one of those things. It was cheap, I think, is really what it was.
No, everything comes down to price too,
Yeah,
for
it was
sure.
just cheap. They put it on roads. It was like in the summer when it dried up, you drive on it and it would just kick this white dust up and your car would just be covered in it, If you had like a black car, that was a white car.
Yeah, in Washington, it was like gravel.
Yeah.
I think they would just come gravel it and fill the potholes.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, no one lived on it. It was, like in one of the 3 people beside or there's 3 houses including ours. One of those houses, the chick didn't even live there. Like she was like traveler, I forgot what she did for work, but it was just like she's like single living by herself. We were watching the house 90% of the time for her, so it was like we lived 5-acre lots, was like the minimum build size out there. So you're just, no neighbors.
No, and then you could ride your dirt bike wherever, however.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Yeah, in Washington, they would let us ride our dirt bikes on the side of the highway, kind of like in the ditch. Because
Yeah.
they would just know, because a small town, they
It
would
was
know we're
tolerated.
going from, friend
Yeah.
to friend. Long as you weren't going fast and you didn't try to run from them. But even if you ran from them, like, this town was small. They knew who you were.
Yeah,
They were just going to meet you at your house,
yeah.
you know?
We had this one road called Gooseberry that like linked everything together, and so you could it was like right by my house. You could just jump on an asphalt road for like a minute, be on the dirt
Yeah.
road. Yeah, sure. Be on the dirt road and then just be tearing through the dirt road. You could pretty much get anywhere into town. Like it spit you out, like by a paved road. You kind of had to like ninja your way through, but it was fine. It was cool.
Yeah, we had a lot of logging roads. They were definitely the long way, but no, it's definitely fun growing up in a small town and then moving to the city when you get older, when like you want to go hang out at the mall and you moved here like later though, right? You grew up there all the way through high school?
Yeah, I went to college in Arizona for a little while, in Tempe. But yeah, I wasn't. I mean, Bentonville was a small city. If it hadn't been for Walmart, it would just tiny. I think it was like less than 10,000 people when I was born there.
Wow.
Little itty bitty town, but
And they got medical there now, right?
yeah, yeah. One of my buddies from college has got a shop up in Northwest Arkansas.
They got recreational coming.
Probably not. Probably not anytime soon. That state is like one of those ones where there's only like 7 cultivation licenses that have unlimited canopy on them. So it's like,
you have to have problems, like
Yeah.
real problems.
No, not even that. It's just like if you want to like it's such a there's only like 35 dispensaries too on top of the 7 cultivations. I think the dispensaries are allowed to grow so many like 50 plants, and they can have a lab and like secondary products manufactured there.
But only 50 plants.
But only like 50 plants.
So each plant's gonna have to be like the size of this garage.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah. So it's like unless they know how to super crop, and tie that thing down 18 different ways and make it a mountain of a plant, like they're not growing that much. But those 5, 7 guys, because I think only of the 7 cultivation, only 5 are on. So those 5 guys are just owning the market, And I don't think they want it to go recreational, because if it goes rec, they'll add more licenses.
Then their population probably ain't too big either, though, right?
It's big now. Like Little Rock's a pretty big city. Northwest Arkansas's got the college up there. It's a pretty big college.
Is that Northwestern?
Yeah, no, it's Northwest Arkansas is the Razorbacks. So
University
of Arkansas. That's a pretty big college up there, and then they've got another division of it in Little Rock. Plus, Little Rock's just a big city. For Arkansas, it's a big city. It's like the biggest city there.
I think I went through Little Rock on tour with Juice.
Probably. If you guys did a show in Arkansas, it would have been Little Rock or Rogers.
But I think we went like through Kansas City, and then veered down to Houston, or it might have been Missouri.
Yeah.
That's the next state over, right?
Yeah. St. Louis or Kansas City, maybe Columbia.
It was some like smaller city that you hear about a bunch that.
Maybe Columbia then. That's like one of the smaller ones, but there's a college there.
When I did drive across that river, is not the Mississippi, but what's the other one?
There's Arkansas River. There's,
Ohio?
The Ohio River's up by there.
And it was kind of raining, so it was sort of flooding too. And me and the homie were just smoking a joint on the bridge overlooking the water.
That's tight.
It was pretty trippy, dude.
Yeah, if you're in St. Louis going towards Illinois, like all those bridges are pretty tight.
Yeah, just big-ass rivers. Because down here, you don't see rivers that big.
No.
Really. Washington, they got a couple big ones, but not like, there's ships going up and down those rivers.
Yeah.
Like
it's crazy.
It's a trip, dude. Like if
Wide
you watch all
river.
the documentaries of like why America was so successful at the beginning, it's because the Mississippi River and all those rivers that went off were able to like
speed up everything.
trade and speed up. And they say those rivers equal, like, I think more than like the Nile or the big ones in Africa and over there that they trade on. The Mississippi and all those equal out to like almost, I think, the same as that, but in a shrunken up area.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
I can see that. I mean, there's a lot of travel on there, especially back in the day when they had to rely on waterways, you know what I mean? Especially like, your option is like cross over a mountain or like use a boat, that kind of cuts through. You're like, oh yeah.
No, wasn't
Load it
the
up.
first time they walked an elephant across the bridge, right? For good luck? When they were like heading west? Or am I tripping? They walked the elephant across the bridge for some reason. And they also killed an elephant when they started the electric chair shit too, to see if it would work.
Yeah.
Some sick, twisted shit, bro.
Right.
I love history, though. That's one thing like I read or watch a lot about is just all that because it's a trip.
Yeah, I did. My minor in college was Western Civ, just because I had some good teachers that I could smoke weed and listen to them talk for hours about old shit.
I know, like, once I get it going and better, I want to, like, hook up the monitor and be able to, like, pull stuff up to, like, cross-check, because I'm pretty sure they walked the elephant across that bridge when they first built it. Because that was, like, when the Vanderbilts and I think all of them were, like, going big.
Let's see.
No, but yeah, it's a trip growing up, like, just everywhere. And
Wow, you put
See your life?
elephant in like a elephant walk. It's like across a bridge is like the first thing.
oh, right.
Why did St. Louis make an elephant walk across a bridge? So yeah, it was St. Louis. So St. Louis to Illinois, that bridge.
Yeah, it was when they first built it, right? It was like
Yeah.
the gateway to the West.
Yeah.
Because
like the
before
arch.
that, I think they were doing ferries to get like the Oregon Trail. I think it was like ferries or like different shit.
It was 1874 when they completed it. It was the first bridge of that kind, that size. So they decided, hey, for good luck, let's put an elephant over there just to show how tough this thing really is.
We can kill him with an electric fucking chair thing, and we can also walk him across the
Yeah.
bridge. I'm reading this book right now about the con men throughout history and like all the different shit they've done. It's all pretty much the same, just different little product or process. But yeah, it's a trip. And it's all from like the late 1800s to the 1900s because there's a used bookstore at the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Just, try to stay educated.
It's good to stay educated.
And that's funny in there because you hear rappers using the term like I think it's flu flamin' or feel flamin' or whatever when they're like hitting licks or robbing or just like a slang they use.
Yeah.
Well, in this book I'm reading, it uses that word feel flamin' or whatever word they use nowadays, and I thought they just kind of made it up because I just heard it. Fucking shit's been around since that's what they called scamming people back in the 1800s was like flu flamin', feel.
Flamin'.
Some shit like that.
flamin'.
It's like a little long word with a bunch of L's, dude. But
That's
no,
hilarious.
it's pretty interesting.
Got roots.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Do you have any major influences growing up or hobbies that like help make you who you are?
Influences. I mean, I was that kid that anytime that my like family members try to be, those good uncles and good aunts and give you Barnes and Noble cards and stuff that you didn't want for, Christmas or birthdays or whatever. I remember having a pile of Barnes and Noble cards when I finally got like old enough to really like comprehend that I really liked weed. And I just went to Barnes and Noble and got every weed book that I possibly could and just started reading shit.
I know. I got a handful of them over there that helped teach me everything I know.
Hashish by Robert Clark. That was a good one. Cannabis Alchemy by A.D. Gold was a good one. Marijuana Chemistry by I can't remember the guy's name. Like that was a good one. Those are like three that were like kind of hard to find, but those were really awesome books.
And I think when I'm done, I should probably like edit those in. Oh wow, I'm gonna have to turn those off. Like edit them in like afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I think that'd be cool because like eye candy and all that helps.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Cannabis Alchemy is like that one book that if you can get your hands on it, it's not like a hard one. It's a pretty quick read, but that one's like as historic as you can get for like cannabis extraction.
No,
Like,
yeah. I don't think I've ever read too many extraction books. Mainly the growing ones.
Yeah.
I think I have a couple extraction ones. I read a bunch of mushroom books too
Yeah.
when I started doing the mushrooms.
Yeah. Trash to Stash was a good one too. Like that was like I think those are the kind of the books that I don't even know if they inspired me or if I meant for them to or what. But like, those things came really, really handy, when I moved out to Cali and was like, oh, I've got all this extra trim.
Oh, and you study them
Yeah.
back and forth and back and like, and it's better. Like you can watch, like I've learned a lot from YouTube videos nowadays, but there's nothing like studying a book for me, you know, like just like taking the time. And the trip, like for me is like, I'll try it now, give it a run, maybe come out, whatever. All right. Keep practicing, take a break or whatever. Next time I pick the book up and I read it again and I practice again, like I picked everything up the first time, plus I soaked in more.
Yeah.
Like now I'm remembering, okay, first time there's humidity, all these different things. Second time I'm like, okay, humidity has to be at, 50, 60. And third time you start like, just up and down in the swings and just over time, like every time I picked the book up and I remembered more and more, which I'm sure goes for everybody.
Yeah,
but
I think logic starts kicking in too when you reread stuff too, to where you start to kind of understand a little bit of the science behind it. You know what I mean? It's like when you're talking about humidity, it's like, all right, well, why is this so important? All right, well, so humidity affects like how fast my blood drops. You know what I mean? It's like you start to figure out like the whys instead of just basic knowledge. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that I know that like do just YouTube videos and stuff, and when they'll tell me about like facts, they'll just like regurgitate it. You know what I mean? It's like verbatim, like what they heard online.
No,
And
yeah.
it's like, so do you know why it is that way, or do you just know that?
No,
And so I
that's a
feel like
lot of them is just they know that.
Books, I
instead
feel
of-
like if you're gonna take the time to like read a book instead of just listening to it, it's like I feel like you can walk away with a little bit more, like you're saying.
No, definitely.
know?
For me, reading helps you, remember and just store all that. Now we got all the weed questions. Let's see which ones we got here. First time you said you smoked was 11. That was actually, I think, first time I smoked was somewhere before 5th grade or 6th grade. We bought a nickel from my homie's dad. Rest in peace to him because he passed away. But and then the
RIP.
neighbors had a trampoline. They used to have a basketball little court in the front yard, like
Yeah.
a basketball like cemented in. But then they had a trampoline in the back. They let us play basketball, but every once in a while let us jump on the trampoline. Well, that day we smoked, so we just went straight to the trampoline,
Yeah.
and they came home and kicked us out. But I don't really remember it being anything like crazy. I know something like felt something, but then after that it just
Yeah, it wasn't
slowly but
spectacular
surely.
the
Yeah,
first time. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, we're like high. This
Eh.
is cool. This is fun. I don't even know if I like did it right the first time. Like some people are like, oh, I didn't inhale or I inhaled. It's like I don't fucking remember. I was 11.
yeah.
Like,
I never thought of that
like,
either.
I
Like,
just I
did I
smoked.
even inhale? I don't know. I never thought that deep about it.
I mean, I didn't smoke cigarettes then either. I never really smoked cigarettes, so it's like I didn't have that like knowledge of like
And it
how
was
to
probably
smoke.
cheap too, right? Like dirt weed.
Who knows? I mean,
For
back in
me-
Arkansas, probably came with like a watch battery inside the brick and some extra stuff in there to weigh it down.
Smell like gas.
Yeah, that's how it was. We always talked about like getting a pound or like a brick. It was like a Cracker Jack box because like there was always a fucking prize in there. You didn't want it, but it was in there. Like a nickel was like, ooh, 5 grams, got him.
The stress days, bro. I remember I was slinging stress, and then I went to re-up, and then my hookup only had chronic, and like you're getting a pound for like 250, 300 of stress, and then he had a half ounce for 200, and I was just like,
I know.
what?
I remember that.
Huh? And like I already seen chronic a little bit here and there, but never really had a plug, and I was like, fuck, I guess I'll try it, bro. Fucking
all you
couple
got.
hours, it was gone, and fucking never looked back. Ever
No.
since that day, never touched. And it was just almost like, it was probably like 98.
So it's just
Ish.
crippy, just like dank crip.
Yeah,
kind.
it reminds me, a lot of it was like that strawberry kush type shit. A
Yeah,
lot of people had like
Yeah.
something like that.
it was
Like,
a little airier. Like all the dank I would get was like I could get it once a year from one of my buddy's uncles, and he was just like always we used to rolling.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my one buddy would give us this list that was like 30 strains that he like smuggled seeds, ate a balloon when he on his way back from Amsterdam to get the seeds here. Crapped them out. and
Did
then
you
planted
really
'em.
have to go through that back then? I would have just probably
mean,
brought them.
I probably would just brought him too, but like that was a story that we all got from him, And it was like, but it was a sick list. It would be like Shiva skunk and Mazar and like super skunk, and I mean I remember smoking that stuff and going on like 10-minute tangents of laughing like uncontrollably,
No,
trying
for sure.
to stop and like wanting to stop and just not being able to. Like that weed was so good.
Yeah, and then after that, strawberry kush started like OG and all that stuff started coming around. But yeah, dude, those high school highs, and that's almost when I first started dabbing. I got a glimpse of that high school high again for a little while.
Yeah,
and then it just faded away like the rest of them. But
yeah. I remember that first drive back from Kind Meds. Like when we like went over there to drop off some hash, and I hadn't really I had been making hash, but I hadn't been like smoking it like by itself. It was just like on top of a bowl or whatever. And they gave me like a dab off the swing.
I was just
Remember
about
the
to
metal
bring that.
swings? Yeah,
I actually found some the other day when I was cleaning my garage, dude.
relic. That thing. I just remember we drove back to my house, and it was like a 25-minute drive, and I don't think we said a single fucking word until we got like maybe like 2 minutes away, and it was like, "Are you as high as I am?" Fuck yeah. Whole car just like, yeah, dude. Can't even think straight. I don't even know how we got home.
Man, the good old days, dude.
Oh yeah.
Now I feel like I'm just like a weedaholic, I guess is the right
Right.
term for it, But you
Yeah.
don't get wet brain from like weed, I feel like. Maybe like, if you don't smoke that often, you'll wake up with like a little drowsy hangover kind of. But like, when like you get wet brain from drinking,
Oh yeah. Yeah. You wake up the next day and it's just, yeah.
and then like it only takes you a couple
Foggy.
beers to get drunk again. And like the more you drink, the alcohol still is like in your brain and your blood from drinking so much and like drinking right before you go to bed, that when you wake up and you start drinking early, like you just black out sooner. You can like get, it's like wet brain. I don't know if that's a true thing, but I feel like it is. I felt like when I would drink a lot, like,
Unless I'm
would
smoking
be
some
bad.
bad weed, I don't get some headaches. I know if I drink
Oh,
the
yeah.
wrong amount, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
dude,
it's-
I was rolling some weed the other day for someone because he can't roll. So I rolled some weed for him.
That happens.
And it was making my fingers itch, like
Weird.
just trippy, dude. And I was just like, I don't know where you got this or what, but I don't know if I've ever had like weed make my fingers itch rolling it.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen some like super lemon haze that we were trimming once, and my girl was helping us trim, and she was straight up allergic to it. Like a leaf touched her arm, and it, you move the leaf, and there's a leaf like red leaf like mark on her arm. And it's like, okay,
I mean,
so
I've kind
you're
of
allergic
like
to lemon.
sort of fragile, yeah, to that, but like it was just this weird itch. Like it was probably just like nice greenhouse that was sprayed with something, or
Yeah,
because that's where I draw the line too. Is like now, because pretty much all the weed's decent, or there's some better than others, but if it don't taste like it has to, like if it tastes bad, I ain't fucking with it.
no.
If it tastes,
If it doesn't pass the smell and the like the I hate to like be biased on that, but it's like if it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's like, well, I'm definitely not smoking it then. If it's
No,
got a
for
bad
sure.
taste, like if I'm dry hitting a joint and it's like, nah, I don't want to smoke that.
you can't do it,
like,
dude. Like it,
not
it.
doing it to the lungs.
If it's not trimmed the best, but it still tastes good. Like I could take the time to trim it if it's
I don't
all
mind
right.
picking some leaves off. Couple crow's
But
feet.
yeah, I got to draw the line at just tasting bad.
Yeah.
Because that's like, man.
Oh yeah, I see some pretty bad extracts too. Like I mean the random like, hey, try this. Open a jar and you're like, yeah, no. I just kind of got hip on like oh yeah, man, if you want to leave me a dab of it, I'll try it later. But I just tried some stuff that just tore my lungs up. I don't
Yeah.
want to get a bad vibe off your stuff, but like usually that's like the standard protocol for like, oh look, Black Death in a jar. Cool. I'm not smoking that.
I've been telling people I'm good for a long time, bro. Like, even people like, I'll just smoke one or be rolling one up, about to light one, and be like, I'm good, bro. Especially like after the whole COVID thing, too. Like, when we're out hanging out smoking backwoods, like, fuck, I ain't gonna smoke this backwood to myself, like, pass it. And
Yeah.
half the time, that's like, essentially while I'm hanging out, show up, drop something off, whatever. I'm gonna roll them up
Break
while I'm
bread,
here,
smoke.
chill, have fun. But once COVID hit, and I was like, I can't smoke a backwood to myself at the house. So then I started doing the spliffs.
Yeah.
Which like limit all that, and then like, cause you take a hit of someone's stuff, and you're just like, oh, like you smoke this, bro? Like you don't taste this? Like like I don't want to start raining on people's parade, dude. But like, if someone hits something once and you go to offer to them again, and it's still burning, and they say no, like something's wrong with your shit.
You should check out your shit.
Like.
I mean, I was working in Vegas, doing like a consulting gig out there at a lab and doing like running decarb, like ran decarb all day for like distillate, which smells like shit, and like all day just running in this tiny little room, like on like magnetic stirrers, like just off, like the fumes just going up into the fume hood. You know what I mean? It's like the worst scenario when you have to do decarb. And it had like a late night flight back to LA, jump in an Uber to like go to the airport, jump in the Uber, and the driver's like, bro, you smell like the fire. I gave that guy every bit of weed in my bag when I jumped out of there because I was like, bro, if decarb smells like the fire to you, it's like, nah, dude, it smells like I was by a fire. Like, but I was just like, yo, here's some weed, man. Like,
Here you go.
try this out. Like, change your life. Like maybe switch to a different plug. I don't know. That was bad. All bad.
No, that's a good transition to my next question. I was gonna say, who was your first plug? Was he good, steady, and did you make sure you utilized him, or were you just like a middleman, or did you pass him off, or did you like get stuff from him and make sure he was your plug?
I'm middleman pretty quick. Shout out to my buddy Dustin. He's out there probably in either Arkansas or Texas or something these days. But yeah, he was probably the first like real plug. I was smoking weed, like I said, started at 11, but I didn't buy it until I was probably like 14 or 15. Like I was always just right place, right time, so I kind of got to smoke for free. But I remember like me and my brother were driving to somewhere, and we come up to the stoplight. I'm in a tiny ass town, so come to the stoplight, roll down the window. My brother's a grade older than I am, so he sees some like his homies, and he's like, "Oh hey, we're all high going to Walmart or whatever." So we fucking go meet him at Walmart. I start talking to the guy and like quickly realize they're the plug. Give him my number. Whatever, like back in, when you had like, I had like a pager back then, so it's like my number was a pager, so, we'd like link up. I get weed from him, middleman most of the time. I didn't really buy much, but my buddy that I was telling you about that would give us like dank once a year, like that's when I started buying like half pounds and ounces and stuff like that. And,
No. He'll start barking. Sorry.
oh, you good. But yeah, it was just like that was the moment where it was like, all right, I'm starting to buy units and like starting to actually like buy stuff and actually like sell. You know, what I mean, wasn't just middleman and like trying to get some like free eighth, so I could get high for free. Uh, and then yeah, once I moved to I moved to AZ from after like college in Arkansas. Like I transferred out there, and my thought was kind of like, all right, I'm going to Arizona. Like they've got better weed than Arkansas anyway. There's
They got the
already
Pretendo over there, right?
yeah
Like the good
yeah.
swag.
It's weird. Like everyone always talks about AZs, but when you go to AZ, like especially back in like the early 2000s and shit, like they were like, "What the fuck's in Arizona?" They didn't know what that was. It was like weird because that's what I got in Arkansas. Was like good stuff. Was like, oh, I got an AZ pack. You're like, oh, tight, got some Arizonas. But no, when I went out there, I just thought like, someone else is gonna be the plug. They're gonna be selling weed. Like I'm just gonna be buying weed. I'll just be a normal person buying weed again. Wrong. Bought that first ounce. My homie that was from Arkansas lived out there. Was going to motorcycle school. Got me the ounce and was like, yo,
You guys live by each other, kind of?
like an hour away from each other then.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
Yeah, because I was out in the middle of nowhere before I jumped into Tempe. When I was in Tempe, I was like 45 away from him. But like bought an ounce from him or from his plug. He was like, yo, let me get an eighth out of that ounce. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Next week I go to buy that.
Lick.
Yeah, next time
a couple grams.
I buy that ounce, and he's like, yo, can I get an eighth and a quarter and a half? And I'm like, so
he was buying it back from you.
Yeah, like he was, because I was buying it from his plug. I was getting the ounce price. It was a little cheaper, so he was buying it from me to like sell to his friends to make a profit, And so like the next time I like have to buy 2 ounces,
That's back when stuff would actually get cheaper the more you got.
Yeah.
Now it's like the whole way up.
Yeah, and so like I started buying 2 ounces, and then like after that it was like I moved to Tempe and I got my own plug, and then they were like way cheaper. So, yeah, fucking Mickey Rhodes. That guy was a trip. He was like the coolest plug ever. Coolest guy. Just mellow as hell. Just knew everybody. Knew like every skater. Like Chad Muska was his roommate for a little while. He was just like one of those dudes. It was just plugged. Like knew everybody.
That's back in the day when like the plug was really like the plug kind of like he would just know so many people and have so many hookups and like
Rolodex like crazy.
Yeah, nowadays the plugs are just kind of like everybody, I guess. Yeah. But back in the day, like you'd call your plug, be like, someone could do this, someone could do that. Like it wouldn't even just be flour. It would be like
anything.
Bro, yeah.
Yeah, I need someone to pour some concrete for me. And he's like, yo, I know like 3 concrete guys. You're like, oh, tight.
Yeah, at one point I had a mailman come into my house to get stuff like in his uniform. Like he was on the route and then he just started stopping by.
Yeah, I had like this one dude who came into I worked at a skate shop in Arkansas, like during college. This one dude, Dave, he was like a drummer, came by and was like, yo, like I sold all my drums, like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of skateboards for me and my chick. Like, cool, he ends up like working at like the local sandwich shop that I ordered like delivery from every fucking day. And dank weed out there was like, somebody would sell out and they'd be out for like months before they get like good weed again. So you're like, all right, next plug.
No, AZ was always a big market. I knew a bunch of people that would come down here and go straight to AZ with it back in the day. That
dude Dave, though, had like some dank weed he got locally in Arkansas. And he'd, like, I'd call him up to order it. And it would come like in a Loaf and Joe's was like the name of the spot. It would come in like their bag wrapped in foil like a sandwich. So I'd like order like a sandwich and like, like, oh, you need an ounce? You need an ounce? All right, cool. And I'd get like a couple ounces and it would just come in like a delivery bag. Like he'd be on his like route on Loaf and Joe's anyway and drop it all off.
Nice.
Rolled up with, and everyone's like, yo, I'm like, no, that warm one? No, that's fine. That's a sandwich.
No,
here's your weed.
A while ago, they used to send like Uber bags to my homie's store, like fucking with them, like just set up bullshit accounts or whatever. So I would roll around with the Uber bag, and everyone would see me pull up and think I was an Uber guy until I started pulling everything out. Like,
that's what's up.
But times change. That's why we're here doing this.
Yeah. Things. I definitely say, without a doubt, like it's not a rocket science moment, but like social media and like the internet and like everything and the access that you have, like I don't feel like we were trapping back then. Like originally, it was a plug. You got your weed from, like you said, he had a Rolodex worth of people he could call. It wasn't like a trap or like
you
now,
knew him
because it was like you can find a trapper online, like hit fucking Telegram and find 80 trappers and find what you need.
That's
like,
the other day I was thinking like I'm I'm old school, but I'm like an IRL trapper. Like I'm not this internet shit, dude. No. Like one thing gives me anxiety, and that's meeting up with people I don't know. Like especially to do business, even to sell something online. Like I mean, not really offer up if it's like some bullshit $20, $30, $50 thing, like whatever, but like anything like popular shoes or anything with money or Like,
Shit,
it
car
just has to
parts
be
and
like,
shit
this
even.
is a good referral, right? Like,
Yeah.
this ain't a referral from a referral that you're sending me, because I'll pass, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll meet you at this gas station. Hell no.
yeah, like, that shit just starts making you, like, just nervous, dude. Like, that
Yeah.
shit trips me out. But, you know, that's just, these kids grew up in it, and it's all they knew. And for them to get a piece of the pie, they were like, fuck it, I'm going to sit back and start these telegrams and these Snapchats
I mean,
and
it
this
works.
shit.
I mean, I got some people living pretty large off that stuff.
But
So.
then it's like the same time, like, there's a trail,
Oh yeah,
you know,
there's
because
always
they're
a trail.
sending it, you know, like, obviously, you know, ain't no brain science behind it. Ain't
No.
giving anyone secrets up if you just look into the situation a little bit. All right, what's the other one we got here? Oh, did your parents, at what age did they accept your smoking?
Let's see. They didn't know I smoked, and my brother started smoking. And then we went over to like a buddy's house like one winter when it was like just snowing and shit. Like we snuck out, went down to like my buddy's house, which was like a 2 mile walk. Walked back in the snow. We're walking down my fucking drive, like that long ass road, and we see the lights on at my house, and we're like, "Fuck, we got." And they gave me like this long spiel about how my grades are gonna decline and shit like that because I was doing dope. They used to always call it dope. Used to drive me insane. But they'd be like, "Yeah, you know, like your grades are gonna go down." I was like a straight A kid. Like I was one of those kids that could sleep in class and still get straight A's. Don't know why. Just
Oh, you
absorb shit
just-
really
yeah.
well. And so like they didn't accept it. I moved out to Cali or to AZ, they still didn't accept it. Moved out to Cali, they still weren't really feeling it. It wasn't until like I think it wasn't until like I like was paying my rent and like bought my motorcycle and like was doing stuff and like there was this actual legal route and then my dad was like and my mom were like totally cool with it then.
Your dad's like, oh, you were able to buy a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I support this.
Yes. My dad is a motorcycle nut, so he was like, "Oh, okay, cool.
If you can get motorcycles, we
We're
can
good.
rethink the situation here.
We're good. We're good." You know, and once they saw that it was a business out here, it was just like, you know, my dad was an accountant, so he helped file all my taxes and stuff like that. So like once he did that and saw all my books and all my paper receipts, he was like, "Oh, this is like a real business. Like you have employees and like you're actually helping support something. It's not just, you know,
No, you're at the
not a drug
beginning of
dealer."
like something that's going to be here for the rest of our lives now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like there has to
More and
be
more
someone
normal.
at the beginning jumping these hurdles, pushing it.
Yeah, bootleggers
Making
were
it
doing the same
normalized.
thing before like alcohol was legal.
No,
and then
for
alcohol
sure.
got legal, and then all those bootleggers became Bacardi and all these rich families that now are worth
No, and it's
billions.
crazy, like, because Jack Daniels made it through it, but you had to get a medical script
Yeah.
to get it, like just like how it was here at the beginning. Like all that stuff they did for that, they've pretty much for weed, they pretty much just copied from back then.
Yeah.
Essentially, it feels like to me.
And now psilocybin's going through the same thing,
Yeah,
except for some reason it's on a fast track. It's like the people who had like stigma that was like, "Oh yeah, weed's bad." They're the same people that I'm like, "Oh yeah, mushroom." Like, "Oh, I microdose all the
yeah,
time."
we're more into it.
Like what? But you don't
Um,
like weed? Nope. Okay, cool.
I mean, ketamine's a big thing too now, so
Yeah,
it does.
That's a trip too. I mean, I'm way more cool with weed and mushrooms than I would be with ketamine. But
I've
like,
never tried it, so I don't really know. But I've seen people on it, and I don't want to look like them.
No.
You know,
solid.
I wish I
reason
would
to
have
not.
said that back in the day when I was taking pills, but because now I look at people like doing the nod, and I just like fuck, bro. Like I used to look like that at one time. Like Jesus.
Or the 7-time repeat story where you're like, "Yo, dude, you told me that like 5 times already," but they're telling it to you like, and it's like all within the same hour. I used to have
Yeah,
some
you
friends
just
like that.
loaded.
They were just like, "Bro, like you've told me that like 6 times already." Like,
So then I wish like the funny thing is like I was with these two dudes. It was like a few homies, and a couple of them were on the ketamine or whatever, and
Yeah.
my other homie wasn't. And he was just pointing out. He's like, "Watch, he's gonna repeat himself. Watch, he's gonna say something that don't make sense. Watch." And bro, everything he was saying that he was gonna do, this guy was like doing it. Not like he was copying him
was, like,
because he
scripted.
wasn't paying attention, but
yeah.
he just knew like how they acted on this ketamine so much that he was like, "Watch, this
Yeah, this
is
is how it's
they're
gonna
gonna
play
do
out."
this, they're gonna do that." And I was just like tripping, like, and then you get like all emotional on it too. Like some people start crying and then their feelings, and it's like, why would you physically want to get high to get emotional? Like, are we living in
want
this like
this.
weird depressed stage of life or era? Like, I'd rather do something that's gonna make me want to get up and get out.
Be happy.
Yeah, than like something's gonna.
Yeah, I'm trying to be
like-
relaxed. I'm not trying to be asleep.
And the first time I seen someone do that, I was like 16, dude. And this homie, I actually still see him around, dude. But he went into a K-hole the first time, and we're sitting in his house, and I wasn't even gonna try it then, but they were like, "Oh, with TJ and got ketamine or whatever," and he did it, and he just got stuck like this for like 25 minutes, and I was just like finally he
Like,
came
what
out
the
of it,
fuck?
but I was just like, "What is that, bro?" Like when you're in that state, are you seeing like crazy hallucinogens and like fucking feeling like no. I mean, obviously, I don't know what you feel because I've never done it, but they don't explain it like that, you know. So
No.
I think it's just like it's a tranquilizer, like you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I think it's a pet tranquilizer because
yeah,
my the first experience I had with ketamine was like I was buying weed and I was at like a Dairy Queen when I was a kid. I drove a little red Datsun 240Z. Go to pull out of this parking lot. This fucking cop lights me up, pulls me over, fucking finds the ounce, fucking arrests me, go through this whole thing. And like the next day in school, I'm like telling my buddy about it. I'm like, yeah, they gave me some bullshit thing about like, yeah, your car met a description of this red sports car leaving the vet that was like across the street from where I was sitting, which was like, why would I have gone in the fucking parking lot across the street if I'm robbing a vet? But I'm telling my buddy this story, and he's like, oh shit, really? And my buddy, I'm like, his name was Joe, and he drove a fucking little red like Honda like race car basically like in high school. And so I'm like, motherfucker, I'm like, what'd you do? And he's like, yo, dude, we broke in there and stole this fucking this tranquilizer. It's like ketamine or something like that. And I was like, man, fuck ketamine. You know, that shit got me arrested. So I was already like, man, fuck that drug, you know. And then you
Yeah.
know, to hear people talk about it was just like I didn't even know what it was.
yeah, it's just weird because everyone's so I always heard it was cat tranquilizer, and
Yeah.
then some people it's horse, but like you said, I think it's just animal tranquilizer across
Yeah.
the board. Like the bigger the animal, the more you take.
Yeah,
The smaller animal,
They
less
have
you
it at
take.
vets. I think that was the punchline.
Yeah,
And
no,
So
vets.
like my homies that were like dumb like that were like, I'm gonna go rob a vet and get some ketamine.
Dude,
Woo,
vets are
let's
crazy.
party.
My old Frenchie that I had when like he had the myokiosis or whatever, the back when you know we ended up having to put him down. The vet wanted me to send me home with fentanyl for him, and was like, if you want to have him home for the next week or so, and love on him, like we could give you fentanyl. And I'm like, give my dog fentanyl? Like, what kind of fucking
wild.
life is that, dude? Like,
Yeah, no. Not
he
gonna,
wakes up every morning wanting to go around the block, play, live his life. Like,
I don't want him to sit there and
you
drool.
want me, yeah, sit here and like fentanyl. Like, I was just like tripped out. I was like, fuck, you vets
yeah.
fucking do everything in this motherfucker.
No.
Do you feel like weed is plateaued lately, or do you feel like there's still more growth to be done?
There's probably still more growth to be done. I feel like the last like big thing in cannabis was hash holes. You know what I mean? Like that wave has been like a wave for like a little while. And I mean, I know some guys that like really don't dab and they really don't smoke weed, but they smoke hash holes like exclusively.
I can't even like, bro. I start wheezing like after a couple of hits. Like I can't do it.
Yeah,
That's almost
it's a
like
lot.
for me like a back to the backwood route to where you pass it, but then something like that if you pass it and everyone's too like, fuck, I'll say greedy, hitting it all
Yeah.
hot, and you get it back and it's all hot boxed and burnt all weird, like
All
anything
canoed
like
out
that.
and
Yeah,
weird
you gotta
shit.
puff it.
Yeah.
You know, keep it burning nice and slow and hot instead of like. And same thing when you pass a joint or a bag with anything.
Oh yeah.
Like, bro, I'd rather see you hit it 2-3 times than fucking hit it once like a fucking maniac and fuck it up.
I mean,
you know?
remember those giant Weavers blunts? People would do that shit
Yeah.
with that. Like the shit wasn't gonna go around a million times, but they're just like
Yeah,
power
they're gonna
cleaner and that
last
shit.
forever.
It's like, geez, man, like calm down. And then the next guy hits, it's like takes like a tiny puff and they're coughing their brains out because it's hot as shit, you know, from like that. Yeah, do those tie sticks? That like those shits used to just put me down. It's
Oh,
like
they
they would
were
burn
hot.
for like an eternity. So you're just like, yo, I'm done. I don't even want to smoke anymore. Like,
No, shout out to those guys, but I personally couldn't do that. Maybe I'm just like old school and not like into all the bells and whistles. Like
Yeah.
I'll roll my own, dab my own, but like when it gets into like all these crazy things, I'm just like that's a little too much for me.
yeah, I'm not taking gram globs or anything like that. Or
Can't do it, dude. I gotta live. I gotta live for longer, dude.
yeah.
Fucking.
Well, I gotta sit in a cold room too, man. Those cold rooms, they'll get you, man. If you got like asthma or something like that, like, so it's like I don't want to go in there like cashed out lungs. You know what I mean? Like, it just dries you out. Like,
does it make your like body feel better? Kind of like a cold bath, like ice
Yeah,
plunge,
yeah, I'd
being
say-
in cold.
as long as you're like, as long as you're dressed appropriately to be cold a little bit, then yeah, I'd say it like helps your body. Like once you break through like that whole like lactic acid, 15 minutes of like hand washing, you know, it's like you're good. You know what I mean? Like you're warm. Unless you like splash a bunch of water on yourself, then you're screwed.
and then the wind's blowing around.
Yeah, because all those cold rooms, like, if you've got that refrigeration unit style and you're not using like a cool bot or something, like, yeah, those fans are kicking you.
How do you feel like the tastemakers and like the pros and cons of that?
Tastemakers, as far as like everybody going now, like
Well,
blending.
like just starting to start like pretty much a bag brand or start a following, start a Telegram and be like,
Yeah.
oh, this strain's hot. Let me try to get it from this guy. Oh,
Lemon cherry gelato,
this,
everything.
yeah, or this strain's hot. Let's try to grow this strain. But by the time you start growing it, oh, we're flipped to this strain. So I got to
Yeah.
leave this grower in the dust because now I got this grower producing something that I'm promoting this month. And
Yeah.
like
Bubba Kush to Blue Dream to Green Crack to cookies in general to now it's just fucking gelato everything. Now it's lemon cherry gelato everything. Yeah, dude, it's there was
like
ice cream cake last year, lemon cherry gelato the year after. Yeah, it's I don't know, like
and
they
like keeping
sell.
up with it.
They
and
sell,
like,
those guys sell, like, I mean, now Mylar bag chasers are, I mean, it's faster to like print a Mylar bag these days. So I see those, I see like 80 different brands. I mean, it's weird. I'll get like a notification on our Instagram that like something got pulled down or something like that. And then I'll get an advertisement from like a Mylar bag company that's just like pumping out like weed, but they're like on their like Instagram ads that are like popping up on like my ads. And it's the weirdest shit because this dude's like openly trapping.
no, right? Yeah.
And meanwhile, we're like showing a product that's at a legal dispensary in a legal state, and our shit gets flagged and taken down. It's like I have no idea what's going on.
They have like,
Like,
probably
it's
funny
crazy.
ways of advertising it or marketing it, or
Yeah.
like somehow just like. But yeah, I mean, I think they're good. There's a place for them, but
Oh, yeah.
sometimes I think they try to move the industry like too much, or like, oh yeah, tastemaker. Oh yeah, the grow came down bomb, and everybody wants this. We'll say lemon cherry gelato, but now it built a bunch of hype. Something happened to that grow or that guy, or he's replaced, and now you ain't growing it as good as you were.
Yeah.
Now everyone knocked it off, and it just like built hype on a strain that now is just funny.
Yeah.
Fugazi.
Had one fire batch.
Yeah, built hype. And
I've
then,
definitely seen the one fire batch. Everybody sells the clone of it, and then it's generic out there. And,
Yeah.
It's like mids galore. I mean, I feel like a lot of companies don't do a great job with genetics. I mean, a lot of times it's like I'll talk to genetics guys, and it's like it's my breeder's cut. I've got the real one, but then they're gonna sell seeds to everybody and be like real like the breeder's cut, like it's the only real one. It's like, well, then why did you sell seeds? Like
because some of those seeds are going to be better than that breeder's cut.
yeah. I mean,
like-
we cracked 3,000 seeds 3,000 seeds of 8 different things at our Florida project. It's like, I mean, it was a little overwhelming to pheno hunt that much, but like in the next breath, it's like I don't know anyone who's done a pheno hunt that large. Granted, like when you're going through that much, I didn't expect them to pop all the seeds as much, so like we kind of had to like narrow it down a lot faster than I would have liked to have, the like versus like going through each one and really like knowing the nuts and bolts behind it. But yeah, it's like if you just have one cut from a 10-pack and that's your breeder's cut, and then you're gonna sell thousands and thousands of seeds of that cut. It's like someone's bound to find one that's better or like has some things that yours doesn't have.
No, right? Like just like yeah, you get the credit for creating it, but yeah, like the hype kind of just goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tastemaker, like I get it. And I kind of like tastemakers to me. I kind of feel like are the same as distribution companies in a sense.
Yeah.
Like.
They're better at marketing, though.
Yeah, they're just the distribution that's good at marketing and trying to like create a brand off finding good strains rather than starting a brand and creating the strains and like popping them.
I mean, there's tons of them out there now too. I mean, tons, more of them than there are brands. But I think I heard someone else say
that's
that
another
there's
thing. Yeah,
a lot of growers now that are way better marketers than they are growers. And it's like, yeah, I totally agree with that. I've seen some Mylar bags and the flower in them, and it's like that Mylar. I'm like, wow. That's pretty hot. And the weed inside, I'm like, that is not.
No, that's why I don't even buy into the whole bag thing. Like, I'd rather get in a Ziploc. But yeah, I do know a handful of people that collect the bags. But it's like, yeah, everyone collects the bags. Like, unless, like, I don't know what the reason for it, but like everybody had the idea, oh, I'm going to collect all these backwood bags and make a poster. Or I'm going to collect all these stickers and make some. Now people are collecting the bags to make a table or a poster. There are some cool ones out there though, but yeah, I just feel like the bag's better than the weed most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few guys that have switched over to Mylar. Well, like Like Kushco, they don't do Mylars, they only do jars, but their minis they sell in this bag that looks like a popcorn thing. Like the Mylar is, and it's like says like minis or popcorn. I love that bag. I think that thing's cool
No,
as
that's
shit.
cool.
But like, yeah, a lot of. But I mean, that's just their minis. You know, like they're still like glass jar. You know, like how it should be. You know, for like the most part, keeps the weed a little better.
No, when I go, if I'm out and I have to go to the store, like most, I buy the smalls because I'm gonna roll them up anyways.
True.
Like for me
True.
personally, like if it's priced better, I'm like,
Well,
fuck it.
especially if your holes are in Mylars too. It's like to me, it's like a big nug, especially in a shaped Mylar. A big nug in a shaped Mylar that's got like weird neck sizes and shit. It's like that shit's
Oh, you can't even get it out,
it's
right?
getting beat up. You know, like by the time you get it out of the bag. And
No.
then yeah, but the minis, I'm with you. It's like if especially when things are in Mylar, it's like just give me the minis. I'm just gonna break it up anyway, and roll it.
Yeah, someone gave me some weed in the Miley the other day, and dude, and the opening was like this big. Like I was like shaking it to try to get everything out, and I'm just like, this ain't even economical.
I'm like, how'd you get that in there? I'm like, because I'm looking at the nug and this one that I had that was like tapered on the top, then really skinny neck, and then wide on the bottom. And I'm like looking in the bag, and I can see the nug in there, and it looks good and like unfucked with to some degree. But I'm like, did they like seal the bag around the weed? Because it
No,
looks like
it's like the ship in a bottle.
yeah, exactly. I'm
right.
like, how the fuck did you get in there?
They want you to tear the whole thing open.
Yeah, just cut it open. It's dead.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah, Mylars, man, they're a trip.
no, it's yeah, just old school, and I feel because a lot of people I feel like when you're smoking and you want to post a picture. And like back in the day, we had to show up and I had to smoke with you and show you what I had. And, oh, mine's better than yours. Next time yours is
Yeah.
better than mine. Now it's like, oh, I'm just gonna post it, and all my friends around me think I'm smoking the best because I got the coolest bag on Instagram today.
Right.
And it's just like, just trip. I guess it's a sign of the times. But
I mean, how many times have you seen those videos where they open up the Mylar bag, gloating, like check out my Mylar, and then they like show in it, and I'm like, I know there's some shadow in there from the angle. But that looks pretty mitty to me.
no,
I they're
wanted
like,
to.
fuck yeah.
I wanted to do like at one point when we were talking earlier about like all what I wanted to do. One point I thought about like doing weed reviews. And I'm just like, bro, I ain't trying to shit on everybody, dude. Like,
Right.
or
There's a
just
lot of bad
like,
weed out there.
yeah, just like, I mean, what good does that do? Like just reviewing this. Like, if someone wants to give me something or whatever, yeah, gladly, fuck, I'll smoke it,
Yeah.
But like,
It's almost like you got to post up what batch it is and the harvest date and all that shit too, because it's just like, it's a batch to batch thing. Like one grow, like you were saying earlier, like one grower can grow something on the taste guys, and it's like next batch might not be that good. So it's like when you're doing a review, it's like, yo, this batch from lot number 16 date,
yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely.
It's like you almost got to say that, and it's like one of those things that when I do see strain reviews, they're just like, yo, this weed's bad, this weed's good.
Yeah,
it's
and
this
they
strain
don't
from
break
this
it
person.
down
Yeah.
or, and
Because if I was doing a strain review, it's like, or even like for like the hash out there, it's like, all right, this stuff was manufactured on this date, and this is the day that I'm smoking it. Like that's important, you know what I
no,
mean?
for sure.
Like there's definitely some shit that sits on a shelf. It's like, yeah,
No, that's the worst. I hate when I
Old.
go and I get something and you're like, oh, this shit was 6 months old. No wonder it's like buy two get one free.
yeah. I try to only sell this like our compliant line only goes into shops that actually sell hash, because I found some of the guys that some of the shop owners that we've known that are just mutual friends we've known for years that have a shop now. They're like, oh hell yeah, I'll carry your brand. The cool ones are like, I'll carry your brand, but just to let you know, like we sell the fuck out of hash or we don't sell hash at all. That way it's like, yo, I'll try like a little like 1 ounce in-store drop. We'll like do a pop-up and see if they can move it. Otherwise it's like, I don't want to, A, I don't want you guys to pay for something that's not going to sell, but B, I don't want my hash to sit there on a shelf. Someone like you come in that actually knows me or knows the brand and buys it and is like, wow, he really went downhill.
No, most of the time I'll like, I'll look at the date and like be
Yeah.
like, oh fuck, but yeah, all that plays a part, like the presentation and like
For sure.
keeping track of it. Do you do that with stores? Like if it's been there for a while, do you like swap it out with them?
Yeah. I just bite the bullet on that one. Like,
And then if they take care of it, it'll last longer, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if they're assholes and they
Yeah,
don't take care
if
of
they
it,
keep
then
it in a
goes away
freezer,
fast.
then yeah. If they keep it in a fridge but they sell it fast, like that's fine. But like, yeah, I typically am like, yo, you store this stuff in the freezer. Like, please, 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 please store it in a freezer.
No, right? Like at least get
long-term
longevity
wise,
out of it.
Again, if they're gonna like, if it's a shop that's like, yo, we're gonna sell this in like a day, then it's like, yo, yeah, you can throw it in the fridge then.
Yeah, it's
That's
gonna
fine.
burn rubber.
Yeah, at least that way it won't like get all condensation out, on the trip back to the house.
No, yeah.
Shops are
Before they
shit
open
now.
it and take a dab and it like sizzles. or not sizzle, but like the
Yeah, I mean,
perspiration.
if they like try to open it and crack it and straight out of the freezer, straight to the dab rig, it's like yeah, it's gonna sizzle. Definitely gonna sizzle.
And my next question, like it's kind of two of them. But first one, you travel a lot, so like, what do you do when you travel? Like, do you read or what do you do? And then the next one's going to be like, how's Florida going? Or that's your main one you're working at now, right?
It's probably one of the bigger ones. Like Florida and then Vegas are like the two big facilities, like size wise. And then obviously our Cali line, and we've got a lab in Missouri too, but that one's not. It's not huge. We're probably the smallest lab space square footprint wise. I think we're only like 1,600 square feet over there, so relatively small. But like my original lab was like 400 square feet, so no big deal. Florida's going really good. We've got one shop open that we opened up last year. It's vertical out there, so you have to open up your stores, sell to your stores, supply your stores. Can't buy from anybody else at all. So we opened up a store in Miami out there. It's a cookie store. And then we're opening up our next one in Orlando on the 20th of April. Just so happened to be that date. Wasn't like planned, but
No, that works out good.
yeah. And then we got a North Miami, a Gainesville, and a Jacksonville out there like shortly, like probably the next month and a half, 2 months after that. We started doing delivery out there. We built the whole lab out on that one to be solventless. So we've got like a solventless RSO, gummies, tinctures, sublinguals, rosin jam, rosin pens. We're like the only lab out there that was really like set up that way. So everyone else is doing like the distillate BHO, like push distillate until people, move on from it and it becomes just for edibles, and then push BHO and push until they move on to rosin. We just jumped straight into rosin out there. So it was kind of tight just because it kind of like set us apart. And plus, being with like a brand like Cookies that has that like stigma from being like an MSO, I think it was the last thing people expected. They were kind of expecting us to drop like, oh, here's our distillate pens, has some hot dog water. Instead it was like, yeah, well, here's some rosin pens. The only thing is we've been dialing in like the tech. Rosin pens, like hardware, I feel like there's not like a good one yet. It's like they're all like okay, but like for someone who dabs, it's just like
they just don't give you what you need.
We're working on one. I mean, 710's got a good one, or good enough. It seems like Skills has got a good one too. Same guy that manufactures all those though, so we're trying to like kind of find something that we can make. I hate using the word proprietary, but like proprietary, I guess. Something that's just ours, at least for a couple months.
Yeah, time being. At least you brought it to the forefront.
Exactly, until everyone else buys it out. And then, whatever, everyone else got it. That's fine. But I mean, yeah, pens has been like, I'd say like the biggest hurdle, just to find the right hardware that's compatible with all the different viscosities that it comes out in, because it all comes out a little different, like every strain is a little different.
Trying to find one that works for all of them.
Yeah. So it's been like kind of hit or miss. We've been doing a lot with just the rosin out there. Nevada's been going really well. We just got the rosin lab set up there, so we've got a BHO line and a rosin line now in Nevada, and then we've got the rosin line in Florida at all the cookie stores, and we've got Missouri. We're just kind of spread out over there, and then just relaunched in Cali, like pretty heavy.
Because like somehow in a way, instead of the pen being temperature, like blue, green, red, or whatever, if you built it like the different styles of hash, like runnier or chunkier, would that
you almost need something like that. Like you need to like try each viscosity as it comes out and have a couple different resistance settings that you have available in your hardware, and that way you can put it in the appropriate one so that it burns right. Because sometimes it's like, it's too thin, it burns hot. You'll drink the thing down, like, it's like one hit and you're like, whoa, I can see the hit I took after that, versus like, especially with like HT from like the BHO side, like some of that stuff was so thin, like so thin that it was like water,
When it's hot, it burns fast.
Yeah. So with like rosin, it seems like I don't get super runny too much as much anymore, but still it happens every now and then. And it'd be nice to have like a different resistance. That way it's not burning so hot, so you can actually get like a big pull off of it and you're not just drinking the whole thing.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part, doing these pins.
Yeah.
You think they'd have a lot of technology by now with all like the
They do. It's just
shit they've made.
Everybody tries to just buy bulk one thing.
No,
like everybody wants a one size fits all, I guess is what I should say. Like especially when you're working in these big companies, like that's what they want. They want to buy one thing and it works for everything. And it's like, yeah, in theory that's great, but
no, bottom line,
we've never done what it's supposed to do on paper. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
for sure.
Everything that people are like, oh yeah, it should do this. It's like, well, there's a reason why we have no good research for cannabis. Same kind of thing though for that. It's just like for hardware, it's been a pain in the ass. But everything else out there has been really cool. Florida's been a really cool state to work in. They're really about Reddit out there. Like I've never been to a state for cannabis where they're like on Reddit. Like
yeah, that's a trip. I post on the Glass Reddit sometimes, like some of my old pieces I have. People would trip out, but yeah, Reddit's a trip, dude. Like I go on there, like sometimes when I'm Googling something, like I'll check YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, and Google, you know, because those four places you'll kind of be able to see if they're talking about it, little shit going on. But yeah, Reddit's either good or evil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I respond to every single comment that that people make on cookies products, like for the extracts and secondary side. And it's like a second job almost, like just keeping up with like people and opinions and all that. Reddit's crazy. it's a rabbit hole for sure.
No, for sure. And then how, like, I mean, obviously anything you can make a different name, but when you just sign up there, it's like this crazy name, like what the fuck? Like,
oh yeah, ours is like Nature's Lab. Mine's pretty easy.
Yeah, you switched it to it. Yeah. But yeah, when you first start up, it's like
Smurf
365.
Yeah, mushroom pizza.
Yeah,
you're like, huh?
Smurf mushroom or like, yeah,
they got some wild ones.
I can't even think of them because they're just so way out with some numbers after them.
Yeah,
but no, it's good to people be able to like get their views across and see like everyone's different opinion. Because someone will say something and there'll be three dudes that are like, "You're full of shit," or someone will say something and then everyone will support them and they'll be like, "Oh fuck, I got a point there that I didn't notice," or whatever the fucking situation may be.
For Florida people, they seem like the whole the state as a whole. They respond well when you communicate. Like if you're just like if they want to like bash you like on Reddit and you don't like defend yourself at all, even if you come in and you're like, "Yo, you're right, that batch sucked," like something like that. Like they're really like receptive and like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I'll try the next batch." But it's like it diffuses the situation a lot of times when it's just like you say like a 2 cents about it, and that's all it takes. They'll just be like, "Oh, cool, I appreciate that you actually responded here."
No, yeah, and then when you answer back, that helps them too. Because some people just want to be heard. Yeah. Simply just want to be heard, And sometimes they want to be heard because they're trolls.
Yeah.
Or sometimes
the drama
people
ones
just
are bad,
genuinely want to be heard. And it's like almost like answering some of them people on there can essentially get you like a customer for life by being real with them. Like as being like a famous musician or artist by stopping and shaking someone's hand and recognizing them can have you a fan for life. You know? Like,
they definitely appreciate it. Florida's one of those ones too. We've done like in stores. Me and my homie AK from Smokers, and people respond really well. Kind of forgot about it. It's like in Cali, where like your brand is already there. It's established. Like you're almost like, oh yeah, I'll just send a pop-up team to give away T-shirts and stuff like that at in stores. It's like you almost forget that like people actually do kind of want to talk and like chop it up and ask about hash and ask about this and ask about that. So it's cool. Florida's been cool to like kind of get back out there and like do in stores and stuff like that.
No, Ag's cool. That's something I've actually had on my list to come by because I've known him for a long time too. Because he used to share office with that dude Ed, the guy that hooked you up a long time ago, the dude with the pins he got a long time ago.
Oh yeah, Ed.
They shared an office. They have you ever talked to Ag about him?
Ed, AK and Ed. Yeah.
I was gonna say like they used to share a thing and like we're close.
Yeah, they work together on some projects or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen homie in a while. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I've had Ak on my list because just
Smokers is blown up. Yeah,
he's cool as fuck and just blowing up and getting his due.
Yeah,
but him his dog.
Oh yeah, Cash.
Yeah,
dude. He's AK's actually the other side of the Florida thing.
Yeah,
he's a cultivator. I'm the extractor. So yeah, all the flower gets around out there is all his.
No, yeah, like a lot of that stuff that they were doing, I was getting it when he first created that and all that stuff, and because it was like on the heels of like the RS11 and all that wave kind of and blah. But yeah, I can't fully think of any of the strains right now, but like
it was
the
like
Dark Matter and like
that Studio 54 and
Studio 54,
the RS11 and the Shirazi were like, so Shirazi's like his big thing, RS3.
Yeah, I don't know if I've fully seen that one. I think I had a couple times, but like the 11, the 54, and then like, because they had a handful of other strains they were doing too that I don't know if they fully took off or if he's rebranded or who knows, but A lot of them are fire for
Yeah,
sure.
he hits some fire for sure.
No, he knows what he's doing. Definitely.
Yeah, he hits some good ones.
Let's see what else we got here. So a lot of these are like random. I don't even like. Here's a generic one. What's your favorite strain, or what's your favorite like weed strain, or what's your favorite strain in extracts?
I mean, chem dogs, anything chem,
Oh,
chem
yeah,
and
that's a good
sour.
one.
Yeah, I'm about that. Like, I mean, the old precursors to OG, or like just regular ass old school OG. I'd say those are like chem, sour, OG. Like not in that order, maybe, but like those are like that's my home. I like gas.
I haven't seen good Kim in a minute.
I've seen some good chem extracts here and there, but I haven't had like good chem flour. You know what I
Because
mean?
that's
In a
like
minute.
a lot what more people like to do with like that, like the Kim and like the
Yeah, it gets
blues and
it
like
gets
the
rosin.
diesel or whatever, right? Rosin, because they get the garlic ones.
Yeah, yeah, that GMO is super popular. I like GMO, but it's definitely not like my favorite favorite. Sour is definitely trump that for me anyway. I mean, I got a lot of friends who like just grow weed and don't really smoke rosin, but when I'm like, oh, you want a dab? They're like, yeah, give me GMO.
No,
It's
I'm the
I'm like,
same.
all right, cool.
Here's a random one. What was your first like tape or CD for music that you got as a kid?
Tupac's greatest hits.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. And then I think the second one, like my aunt gave me a Boys to Men tape after that. I was like, different, She's like, oh, you like Tupac? Maybe you like this. It's like, this is so different than Tupac, but thanks.
No, my first the one that my cousin gave me was Run DMC, and then like a New Kids on the Block, and then I think I listened to like stuff my mom had, but I remember like that was the first I came home and my cousin gave them to me. And I was like, I got tapes, like put them in the tape thing.
Yeah. My uncles had like a skate shop in the 80s, gave me a bunch of the old 80s like skate swag, and I gave it to the new skate shop, like to trade for boards and shit like that. And probably shouldn't have. Probably should kept all that shit.
No,
Probably
I was
worth
just
some
thinking that
fucking
imagine
bank
keeping
now.
all that.
But like Nodis stuff and stuff like that, like old school Santa Cruz shit. But I was giving them some stuff, and they would give me like CDs and just like chain wallets and just knickknack shit because they were coming out fat on those deals. But I was like 11, didn't know any better. But those guys, they gave me like some CDs of like Vans Warped Tours and shit like that. And that was like in Arkansas, you didn't have punk rock, so like that was like my first like inspiration of punk rock. I love that shit. I fell in love with punk rock as soon as I heard it.
No, for
That
sure.
was my
I've been
shit,
to
that and
one
rap.
Warp Tour, I remember, but all the bands on there like were good. Like
Yeah,
a lot of them were in skate videos back in the day.
yeah. Millencolin was huge. I didn't even know who they were for the longest time. You know what I mean? It's like they're not American music. They're like where are they from?
It was like ska type stuff.
No, they were like punky, but they were like Scandinavian. I want to say they were from
Oh.
Norway or something like that. Like a Norway punk band. But they were like, it's like stuff like that I would have never heard of. I didn't get like those CDs and shit like that. Cause Arkansas, it's not like we had Napster and shit like that back then.
That's
You're
one thing I
like,
liked about like compilations, like
Oh, yeah.
soundtracks or like Warp Tour things or whatever. Because you got to find out like new artists. Like
Yeah.
back then, you get the book, you're like, oh, that's that artist. Oh, this, that. Oh, let me go check out this guy because he was with this guy.
Yeah.
And that's like how you found out about new people is
head down to Camelot
shit.
Music or Sam Goody or Tower Records and go through the CDs.
Tower. What was it? Yeah, Tower and Warehouse were the two that were like underground, right?
Yeah, we had
Sam Goody kind of was, right?
Yeah, I think they popped up like late. We had like Camelot. I think Camelot was the only like real option where I was, and I don't even know if that was like a chain. I think it was like a Midwest chain, like really tiny.
But were they like, did they sell like concert tickets and like sell like
Yeah.
independent artists, or were
Yeah.
they more like only dealing with like label type one? Because
mostly labels? But we had a couple places like Dark Star and like a couple like random shops in like the college town that had like independent stuff. I want to say Camelot did do some independent stuff, but then when they got out by Sam Goody, yeah, that shit stopped.
yeah, I don't know if I've really been to a Sam Goody, but Warehouse Music used to be my favorite back in the day, before like Amoeba came down here and whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because they would like buy and sell, but they would like Koch and like those labels that only had distribution, they would stock some of it. But then you could also get your tickets there, like when you used to
right.
have to go to Ticketmaster to get your concert ticket.
Yeah, fuck
You
that
couldn't
line.
just do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, or you had to order them like weeks in advance to get them sent to your house. Like, bro,
Yeah.
waiting because they were like always at Macy's or either Warehouse Music or like Macy's were like the two places to like
Go and get them.
get your tickets.
Yeah.
fucking trash, dude.
Pain in the ass.
It's one thing about the internet. Like, there's a lot of good things that it's done.
Oh yeah.
Definitely outweighs the bad, I guess.
Hell yeah. Yeah, convenience factor is there. No joke.
Oh, here's another good one. Do you feel like people lose passion in the industry now that it's more a job than like
Yeah,
trapping and trying to do the best and like figure it
definitely.
out?
Definitely. There's something to be said about the guys that have like made it more of a mainstream job that don't have that pride anymore. You know what I mean? It's not about there's really no like I still do some of the contests, you know what I mean? Like as much as I can just because I feel like it's important, you know what I mean? Even if you know, even like sometimes I go to those things and it's like, "Oh, you work for cookies." It's like I actually don't. I work for TRP. But but no, like people are just like kind of like a sellout, you know what I mean? Like you get that vibe from it, but it's just like, you know, I still do all the contests. I still like keep my heart and soul in it. Like I still make hash. I don't have everybody making hash, and I don't touch a paddle ever or anything like that, or touch a butane extraction setup. There's a lot of people who have like gone into like making it an office job. They're just like not working in a cubicle, but might as well be working in a cubicle because it's just like 9 to 5, go home. 9 to 5, go home. 9 to 5, go home. It's like, do you even care anymore?
No, yeah. Instead of working those overtime days when you had to try to get it dialed in and do the best, I guess.
Yeah.
Right here at the corners, one of those like uh like jobs like a job center but for weed companies. Like if you need
No shit.
trimmers, you call them. If you need like people for something, you'll call them and then they'll be like, "Oh, you need 5 trimmers?" Fucking go through whoever they got on
Yeah.
their list and then 5 trimmers show up to help you. Um
That's a trip.
oh, that's I forgot. How many trophies have you won in the
like
cannabis?
like like 50 or 60, like 50, like high, like 58, I think, or something like that.
And is there anyone that's like one more besides like the dudes from Amsterdam back in the day?
What was that?
Is there how many? Is there anyone that's like one more?
Oh, shit. I don't know. For like actually like just extracts, because like we have a few that are like for like infused pre roll, but like I never counted like best booth or like, you know, best piece of glass or anything like that. Like to me, it's like if it wasn't for like the hash that we made, it's like who cares? It's not like a trophy. Like, but I'm not sure if anyone like exclusively for hash has won it. I mean, I've seen like breeders that have like, you know, other people have bred their stuff that have a crazy list of awards, but I'm not sure extract wise if anybody has really done more. on
Yeah,
just
but those
extracts.
ones like someone bought your seeds and then grew them and then won.
Yeah.
That's like half. You go like I feel
Yeah.
like you only get credit for half the award, so you need 2 awards to get credit for one. Kind of like my
Yeah.
opinion. You know, like
I know what you
you
mean.
just bred the seeds, bro. Like yeah, you did your part, but this guy grew it, made sure it came good, entered it, paid to get it in there. Now, if you said, "Hey, grow these, I'm gonna pay for everything,"
Different
then
story.
I guess fucking
Yeah,
give you
that's a
some
different
more
story.
credit. But if you just bred the seeds, someone bought them,
Yeah.
because you have to pay to get those trophies extra, like the Hightimes ones. Like they
Oh,
charge
yeah.
you if you want a second, third, or fourth
Fuck
one.
yeah,
Like,
they do.
I'm gonna when I do, and I have Paya come, I'm gonna ask him to bring the couple trophies we got,
Yeah.
so I could just have them for a little while, so I can.
Yeah, I
Show
don't even
'em.
have. I don't even have. I don't have a single one of my first place trophies because I won them with someone else's flower or something like that. So it's like, yo, here's a trophy. High Times does still owe me like 3 copies. Just saying, High Times.
No, in that sense, like you extracted it, so like you definitely put your
Oh
touch
yeah,
on
yeah,
it. You
yeah.
know, like
But I mean, that person put 3.5 months into growing it, so it's like I get it. They paid electricity. You know, like all I did was take it and extract it.
yeah. Too bad looking back, you couldn't say the deal is you buy a second trophy for
Yeah,
me. Like
yeah.
part of this deal is you have to buy a trophy for
Well,
me,
and
so I have my own along
I
the way.
bought the trophies, and then when I like, you know how High Times was, they
Oh,
like
they're the
flip through
worst.
management so often. So like I've like went back and was like, yo, hey, like you guys owe me these 3 trophies, and they're like, that's cool. Show us the bank statement where you bought them. Well, you know, working in cannabis, I've been kicked out of a lot of banks.
No, right?
So I was like, yo, dude, I don't even bank with Chase anymore. Like I can't get that. Like I can't get that document. But like I gave you guys like $3,600 to like or 39 or whatever. It was like there was,
No,
like
they weren't cheap.
$1,200 trophy. So I gave them the money for it, and they basically were like, tough shit. You know, it's like, cool, man. I appreciate that. Thanks, you know, for your support.
No, they're the worst, dude. Fucking a long time ago, at the end, Matt tried to talk me into like getting some extra, and then he tried to tell me I owed him money. Or I think Pyax wanted boo. Pya was supposed to pay him, I think, actually, but didn't. And then finally, after one time they changed management, they just stopped asking me for it. because I was like, I don't even think I went that time, and I just tried to show the homie love, and somehow it ended up on my account, and then like they even charged me for like an entry too, and no one even entered anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
you fucking
We prepaid for like 3
shady
booths
bastards.
at the very first time we got a booth, like just because they like said they like cut off some, and like we went to like the next one in Denver, and then the third one we missed. We didn't say anything about it. They didn't say anything about it, so it was like, okay, cool, whatever.
No,
Is
no.
what
At some
is
point,
what
you
it
could
is.
just show up and fucking set up, and they wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
Like all the people that show up at the end and like corner booth open. Next thing you look over, someone set up, didn't pay shit.
Yep.
I ain't mad at them, dude. Get your fucking money.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you got especially when they had empty tables. It's like, yo, if you got empty tables, you gotta do something with them, you know.
Oh, here's another good one. How often or like throughout your doing this in the industry, how many business deals have came by you and how many of them worked out? Or like a percentage, like
Oh,
how
yeah.
many?
Let's
And I'm
see.
not just saying someone calling you, telling some shit, like maybe like a dinner meeting or two involved, like really maybe felt serious and then just nothing.
I'd say of everything that we've like been offered or like really been like shopped or like try to be sold on, probably like 15% of stuff is actually like came to fruition.
Like real deal, like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, now there's a paper and there's a contract.
I mean,
Now
even-
it's on me.
Or even like some of the early on compliance deals we did, you know, like in Cali, like the lab that we're at right now, we were at 2 labs prior to that. So this is lab number 3. You know, it was like the first deal, they got greedy. The second deal, they got greedy. The third deal, they were realistic. You know what I mean? It's just like same thing happened in Nevada. The first deal, I got like a shaft deal on like the operations agreement that I had. I did consulting at 2 or 3 other spots, and then I finally landed at Flower One, which had they were like a mess at first, but like they were willing to like work through and like help like change their infrastructure and like work around and get things going right and actually pay. And so that was nice.
No, that's the big like.
Because a lot of them are that where it's like, oh yeah, can you do that? I mean, the amount of equipment lists and like basic like stuff that I'm like is worth money to do, but you know, at a certain point, it's like you almost have it like on your computer to like, oh, you need an equipment list, no problem. Let me update it a little bit for like new brands and stuff, new equipment, things that phased out, stuff like that. Send things like that that like people like. There's millions of like things I feel like that we've sent off like, oh, okay, here's like help writing the application, here's help with this, and just nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's all good karma though, right?
yeah.
Or
Otherwise,
and then everything you live and learn, like maybe every time you did it, you practiced, and now you just know like the back of your hand.
yeah.
You know, like that's how I go away. I always try to walk away from everything like, at least like what did I learn from it? Unless
Yeah.
I took a huge loss, like
Yeah.
fuck, at least what I learned. Kind of look at it that way
Trying to
you
take a
know?
murderous L, but yeah.
instead of like just leaving with hatred every time. Like just
Yeah,
like
no.
you stupid motherfuckers wasting my time. Or the worst is like, oh, I want to do this. How much money you got? Fucking hardly anything. Like,
100 grand.
yeah, dude. You know how many times
Sick.
I've heard that? Like, dude.
Oh, dude, I've had some people get outright angry because I'm like, they have like a couple $100,000 and they want to invest in cannabis. And in their words, I won't help them. But it's more or less, I'm like, look, dude, I'm saving you a whole lot of turmoil and like that. If you want to come in and invest in cannabis and like really want to do it, and you don't have like millions.
No, that's
It's
why I tell
not-
people
it's
you
not gonna
need
be
10
easy.
million that you don't need back for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying need back. You need 10 million that you don't need payments back for at least 5 years starting.
Yeah, you need to
Then
be
we
comfortable with
maybe
that.
get somewhere.
Yeah, and
you
I mean,
know?
you might get it earlier than that, but like
No,
you
but I'm
need
saying
to
for
have that
sure,
mindset.
like, yeah.
because it's like everyone I know that gets into like these big guys get into cannabis, they're like, and it's weird because they come into it from another industry and they're like, all right, it's gonna take in every industry it takes about 3 years to become anywhere near cash flow positive.
And that's like a smaller operation.
But they'll
10
expect
million.
it, and they'll expect it in like 10 months. They're like, why are we not cash flow positive on the end of the first year? This is weed. And it's like, yeah, guys, you're not the only millionaire that threw money at this. Like, there's
No, and
tons
then
of people who did this, and
Unless you
they clouded
unless
the water.
you build it out in a month, which is unrealistic.
Yeah. And you hire real operators.
Real operators, and
you pay them.
get teenager plants that are a week, 2 weeks out from flipping that are nice and healthy that have already been tried, tested, and true. And you know, like, cause bro, you got to go 3 months on paying your employees and everything, and pay all the trimmers and all that before you even start getting anything back. You know,
Yeah.
like.
And that's not cash flow positive. That's just before you start making money.
And now, if you're gonna start from seed or start with cuts and build a veg, bro, it's easy.
Yeah.
Say a year. You might
Exactly.
be 9-10 months, but let's just say a year.
Yeah.
You know, just so when you get and a month early, you're happy.
Yeah,
You know, like
exactly. So it's like, yeah, 3 to 5 is pretty real. 3 is really like by the fucking hair of your neck kind of shit,
yeah, and it's
or
not
skin of your
comfortable.
neck kind of
Like
shit. But yeah,
this is working. We got extra cash. Like we, you know,
yeah,
whoop whoop whoop. Like, and
yeah.
then worse is like, oh, okay, and then they want to start. Well, can we get away with this AC?
Oh yeah, that's
Or
it.
can we get
That
away
happens
with
quick
not
usually.
this? And just like, what, bro? Like,
What can we get away with? Come on. It's like that's like the question of the day, like every day when you're building out. Or like after you've done the initial build out and you're like, all right, now we're built out, we're operational, but we need like, those last little tiny things to like we need beakers, to like pour the oil into, and they're like, ugh, really? God, are you really? And so we got to order the hardware, and the pens are $5 a piece. Really? Like, yeah, dude. What did you? What do you want?
Come
Like,
on, bro.
you're like, you can see the finish line, and you guys are like, I'm gonna get cheap on you real quick. It's like, but we're right. It's right there. Finish line. Okay, fine, whatever.
No, everyone just sees
Look at
it
you.
and like even with like after silica, like, and now I've actually thought like if I get this dialed in, I could maybe bring silica back, kind of like as like a brand, and maybe get someone to help me and like make it more kind of. Um, but I told myself I vowed to myself that, and I kind of did it with the weed a little bit, but like to go into manufacturing again is just like like.
Oh yeah.
And weed is essentially like I would love to like in a perfect world, I would love to buy a house, build like 10 lights, have a couple light veg, wake up in the morning, take care of my plants like it's my shit, and then, just grow for the fun. Be able to
Yeah.
have fireweed for my friends.
Yeah.
But to like grow and have a huge warehouse and employees for me is just like,
Yeah,
man, I
the
just
idea of
don't.
having 1,000 lights in the air, like, or even 200 or 500, it's just like with a lot of people. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of infrastructure. It's a
And
lot of
then
people and stuff.
you'd have to build out like good help, I
Yeah,
always ask everyone that has a big operations going good, like, where'd you find these people?
yeah, that's
That's the biggest question. Like,
yeah,
how did you find these sauce? Especially when you see they have an employee that's just fucking for them and they just get it and they're just doing it.
about it.
You're
Yeah,
just like, fuck, dude. Like, you got lucky, bro.
yeah,
You know? 'Cause
yeah,
most of them try to, like, I've been an owner and an employee, so I see all sides of it. Like, sometimes I'll catch myself being lazy and be like, oh, you got to step it up because you know how it looks or whatever,
yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot of like. I mean, I'll be consulting at spots where they're like, "Oh, you run Nature's Lab, yeah. Like you're the consultant, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Man, I really want to start my own brand," And I'm like, "That sounds great." It's like, but what do you? I don't, it's like, how do you want me to say, man? It's. Do you have a life right now? Yeah. Do you like it? Yeah. Well, you're not gonna have as much of it if you start a brand at first, like, because it's pretty involving. You know what I mean? Like, there's long hours. Like, it's like so cliche to like hear people say like, "Oh, it's a lot of hard work and long hours." It's like, yeah, it is.
No, for sure. Because
It is.
people understand, like, at the beginning, you got to make it. You're doing all the labor. Now you got to sell it.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be someone that makes it, and then, okay, you can maybe get like a little distro guy
Yeah. Unless
that
you
you
can pass
give it
that
all to
part off.
him.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, if this dude ain't 100 to you, he can get bigger, start selling for other people. Somebody else can come offer him a proposition. Like,
100%.
it's like,
Awesome.
and then what are you left with your dick in your hand? Like,
Yeah. Seen it happen.
oh, yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
people always, yeah, dude, it's a shady road. Like,
Yeah. You see that their infrastructure and like some like holes in it where it's like, oh, so this guy really handles like everything. That's dangerous. Like,
No,
like,
right?
so that guy's your business basically. Like, oh yeah, that's
Because
not,
you can
that's
make
dangerous.
it, yeah, for sure. But now you have to sell it, and that's when you have to have a good little team of like selling it, making it, and everything dialed in. Because, yeah, it just gets a little
A lot of pieces
wishy
of that
washy,
puzzle. Yeah.
Let's see, we got. That was a good one. I mean, pretty much last one. Like, you got anything planned for the future, or anything coming up, or
I mean,
pretty much just working hard right now with all these spots, right?
working a bunch of spots. I mean, I see graffiti on there too, man. We're trying to do a lot more like mural stuff at like a lot of these spots, and like do a lot more artwork with like graffiti guys. It's been like one of those things I've been kind of going after this last like couple years. It's like working more with like real artists, like not working with like these these design companies and firms that I get like tied in with sometimes on these things. It's like I'd rather work with like street artists. It's like my brand was born in the streets. I don't want to work with like these like, no offense to like the college graduate like designers that like work for these big ass firms, but it's like I want something that's a little more street. I want something
No,
that's a
right?
little more raw. Like I want the guy who's like, like, yeah, I did that, and I can't, put my face next to it because I'm not trying to get arrested because I did this on a mission at night. It's like those are the artists that I feel like are the best ones anyway, and they're like,
No, for sure.
it's like to get them to put their name on it to me is like that's worth more. Like that's a huge one to me. It's like getting to work with like good artists like that they want to like actually do some stuff. It's like those are collabs I get excited with. I mean,
No, yeah.
this year I'm
definitely.
trying to like just do collabs back with the homies, like anyone that I knew that used to grow that we were working with in the traditional days. Like if they got a spot, it's like fuck it, dude, let's work.
No, and you like make
if they
like
don't have a spot, it's like I'm bringing their genetics to one of our spots that we can compliantly do it, so that we can get their brands in something. Because it's like we all started like on that same level, like all eating really well and all doing what we could together. And then like corporate happened, I feel like everybody went into 20 different directions.
No, it just got weird.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like now there's definitely a lot more synergy of like people that are like, yo, we need to like band back together. Otherwise,
No,
like
it's
getting
crazy how
lost.
like time goes and like everything has like a cycle or a wheel, and like it feels like at the point you start thinking like, fuck, is it going away too much? It's like about the time something
Starts to come
comes
back.
and they bring it back in, and
Yeah.
like, I even kind of feels like that's how it is like a lot of rap music now. Like it's kind of just like on a low, but like it takes the lows to have the highs.
Yeah.
Like, and
You
everything
don't know
comes
your
first
low.
circle.
You don't know you're high if you don't know low either, too. I mean,
No,
it's like one of those things, like,
You got to go through them to like feel it, like smile now, cry later.
right? It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, this one mainly because I got my homie. I guess I don't even want to say his other name then, but I think he's already like known. But he fell like couple stories, broke his legs. Like he has a crazy story to tell. So like this one was kind of like for him. I'm trying to think, but yeah, it's like kind of like when you start looking at graffiti, your first tag,
Oh,
early
yeah.
influences, craziest spot. Did you really write like that, or you just kind of have fun?
Oh, dude, I liked graffiti a lot. Like, it was one of those things, and when I like the motorcycle shop my dad was like his best friend worked at and owned, like they would drink beer at. I'd like go wander around it when I was a kid. There's this like shell of a building behind it that they graffitied in. Arkansas didn't have a lot of graffiti, as you can imagine, especially back in like the 80s and 90s. And like it was just a cool spot. Like I don't know why, but like I'd walk in there and it just felt like comfortable.
No, right?
Like, and it was just four walls, no roof, and graffiti.
An
and,
old
like,
abandoned building type
Yeah,
thing.
and it was just a building right behind that, and I'd bring my skateboard and like skate there by myself, and shit like that. And it was just like, I don't know, graffiti always just like, I don't know, felt warm to me. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
it's
something
like
about
fun.
it.
Like you want to express yourself. Like
Yeah.
I always kind of think of like dogs pissing, leaving their mark. Like at one point we found this abandoned warehouse down this like road by the dumps in Sun Valley.
Yeah.
Over there on the dumps. It was like off of Tuxford, but we found like down this road this old big abandoned warehouse. So we painted the whole thing, like inside, outside. We'd spend hours there skating, listening to music, drinking beer, painting.
Yeah.
It was just like tucked away. And they like one day we just went and they had bigger fences up and couldn't get in there, and they started doing something to it. But that was like later on. But when you said like a random building like that's made me think of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And then I went back home and they knocked that thing down, and I was kind of sad. And
No.
it wasn't like it wasn't like anything was there, but it was like kind of sad. You're like, oh man,
no, fucking gone.
the shell is gone.
Cause yeah, growing up here, like I moved here pretty young. Like I remember seeing like Ozzy stuff before he fell
Yeah.
off the Mulholland before they fixed the bridge. I seen all three. I seen Ozzy hit it, not hit it, but I seen the tag.
Yeah.
I seen Ozzy's, I seen Pharaohs, and I seen Cubs in
No
person.
shit.
Luckily,
That's tight.
all three times I think I was going to the airport or
No shit.
something. Cause I don't go over to 405 too
Yeah.
often. But the first time the Ozzy one I seen with my mom. So that was a long time ago. The Pharaoh and Cub I seen because I was already driving myself at that point.
Yeah.
But they fixed the Mulholland overpass to where I don't have the little
Lips.
ledges no more. So that shit's in history.
Yeah.
But
That shit's gone.
I remember
Unless you got some balls of steel and some rope like crazy.
there's that
So I've seen a couple people make some rope swings. They're
it's like
to,
MXM or fuck, I can't remember the name, but there's some guy big right now doing it on Instagram that is doing them in New York down the whole side of buildings, and there's videos of them just with this little rope going up and down.
That's some rock climber shit right there.
No, that's
It's
the
like
first thing I seen. Like, oh, this
graffiti
was a
guy
rock
who's a
climber.
rock climber. Yeah.
Like he doubles, bro, for sure. Because
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense though, because I rock climb, and I'll see some spots that like have like not like spray, but like someone brought like some paint markers and like just didn't like deface nature, but like put something little. You know what I mean? Where it's like, and I'm seeing it like, oh man, this guy brought some fucking paint up here. Like, damn, like that wasn't easy. Like, on top of everything else you got to bring, it's like, fuck yeah, I'm bringing fucking a couple cans, some markers, maybe some stencils. Like
marking my
all
spot.
Right. Like I dig it.
Yeah, that's yeah, it was fun. Like LA toughest sport. Like
for sure.
That's what someone said that back in the day, and I was like,
I've never heard that,
sure.
but that is some real shit right there.
Like getting cut by barbed wire, twisting your ankle.
I mean, skating has some like injuries for sure. But I'd say graffiti, like you're not falling off shit. Like you fall on a skateboard, but you're not falling off shit.
But
like
in graffiti, the places you're going are like just filthy.
Oh yeah,
like when you're crawling in these cuts, they're not clean. Like skating, you're falling where it's kind of clean, sort of. Like it's dirty, but like
you sweep things when you skate.
Yeah,
you're not like blindly going down like some
and
fucking
it's not like
nasty tunnels and shit.
Dirty, nasty grease. You go like this, and it's just like just don't even wash off your hands.
Yeah,
my homie back in the day, like I used to have all kinds of footage too that I fucking lost one time. The cops took it, but my homie used to like climb the back of the freeway signs and paint them. I couldn't get my ass up there, so I would just like film them. But
that shit's not easy.
No, dude, I was amazed. I was like, bro, how do you do this?
Was he like using a belt?
No, just himself, bro. He was just like fucking just muscular, I guess.
Yeah, dude, that's
because like you get up halfway and then there's an electrical box halfway, so you can put your foot right there and rest, and then you gotta huff the next, and then when you come down, you just slide till you put your foot on that box, and then you just slide again. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, he could just do it, bro. And I was just like, wow, dude. Like I'm never able to get up on one.
I mean, I've done that, but it was like I'd have like a belt or something that I could like use. That way I could prop my feet up and
like
just crawl up.
Like the electrical guys that climbed in the back.
Yeah, I always saw someone do that when I was a kid, and it was just like, oh, that's how you do it?
No, I like
Game on.
It's like deal and stir, I think sometimes you see other people, but on the side of the freeway, the electric poles, you'll see them like do the like silver metallic tags on the, so like you'll see it, and the poles are all like because they're soaked in oil, so they don't burn. That's why they're all like dark and weird looking. But when you tag on them with the silver, it's just bright as hell,
Yeah.
But you'll see them sometimes on the freeway, and you have to look for it because it'll kind of blend in. Or you'll see them like tag on palm trees, and you're just like, this motherfucker just had to like the whole way up.
It's wild.
No,
and you gotta be fast on those ones. It's like, you're pretty trapped when you're on a fucking tree.
Oh,
and at the top of it, and like you get cop spray, it's like cop's wet dream. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, where the fuck are you gonna go now?
And a palm tree, at least you can like essentially slide down. You might get a little burn, but those power poles, you're gonna get fucking slivers. Yeah. Like, and it ain't just a little piece of shit sliver. It's like a chunk of fucking
wood
that
is now part of you.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, dude, fuck those things.
That shit would be fucking horrible.
Yeah, I found a couple of fallen like telephone poles that we were like, let's just wax them and skate them. You fall and you fucking touch that thing, and you're just like, shivs all in my fucking hand.
One time when we were kids, we made this little cheap ass rail so we could fucking skate it with our boards. And I fell, and we didn't put one of the nails all the way in, and it went in my leg, and I got up, and like a little chunk of fat came out with the head of the nail.
That's legit.
And it was just like a circle like that, and I was just like, I just pushed it all back in, put the fucking bandage over it.
Yeah, flap
Didn't
it up.
tell my mom nothing. Didn't worry about fucking, what is that shit from Rust?
Tetanus?
Tetanus shot? Yeah. I said, fuck that.
Lockjaw? I don't think so.
Is that what happens from it?
Yeah, lockjaw.
That's like the one side effect, or is there like more?
It's supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but like that was like the one that they used to try to scare us when we were kids. Like, because we always trespass and go through barbed wire and shit like that, and same thing, get cut up, and aunt or your uncle or grandma's like, you're gonna get lockjaw, like as a threat to you to like don't do it again.
I wonder, did it last forever, or does it go away?
I'm sure it goes away. I mean, I'm sure it's not like
temporary.
You're not just locked. I'm sure you get a shot.
I wonder, like, what do you have to take to unlock it then? Like,
I don't know.
Got to take a pill to take a pill to take
Probably
a pill.
Just tetanus shots. Probably just shots.
Just give you the shot after it's locked up and it just goes away.
Probably. I don't
Makes
know.
sense.
I never really looked into it. Although I guess we didn't have Google back when I was getting that threat.
Yeah.
It was like And if kids can just call their shit.
Dude,
Like,
it's
oh yeah,
I was
actually.
trying to tell my son something the other day, like 3 different things, and he was like, "Oh, I know already." I was just like, "Dude, like, can I not do my job as a dad and try to put you on game and teach you
A little
nothing?"
bit.
Yeah, I was just like, "Fuck," dude. Just kind of walked away, like, told my wife, like, he just fucking knew everything I tried to tell him. I was
my
just
my
like,
kid my
damn.
kid's 18. Like yeah, they know a lot. Like, or at least they think they know a lot.
No, right? That's at that age, like, where they're probably starting to come back around to their parents, because they say like high school, they're like don't want nothing to do with you. Young 20s, they're still, but then like mid 20s, young 20s, they start coming back around and realizing you were there trying to help them the whole time and put them on game instead of being
My
an
kid's
asshole.
still more of like I just want to build my car, work out at the gym, and hang out with my girlfriend. Like that's it. That is life to him. So I
That's
mean,
good.
he's every now and then we'll get some phone calls. That's about it. He still lives in Arkansas.
No, I mean, that's what life's about, right? Your
Yeah.
hobby, your girl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know my dad's gonna be here. He hasn't been down in a like year and a half, I think, but he's gonna be here next month.
Man, it's been
crazy.
a minute. I haven't seen your dad in a minute.
No, it's been a while, right?
Yeah. Remember
I don't know. Did you see him last time? He was
I think
here
so.
the time before.
I think I saw him a while ago when you were like a while ago. Didn't he come down like back in like the heyday?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's where I remember him from. Yeah,
Do I bring him to a show or something?
something. I remember because I met him and I remember meeting was it Paya's dad?
Oh yeah.
Because I remember meeting like not at the same time, but I remember like at one point meeting both, and I was like,
We
"That's
had them
tight."
together a couple times too. That's
That might have
funny.
been it. Maybe might have been one of those times. It might have been one of those like together moments. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, like we did like there were so many shows back in the day.
The good times too.
Yeah, where it was like sometimes there was like 3 or 4 shows in a week. She was wild.
And it was just like fun to go hang out at that time. Like we were working. I mean, how it felt for me, like we were working,
Yeah, we
but
were
we're
working.
still like hanging out. It was all fun. Everyone's having a good time.
Yeah. Well, shit. I mean, you and your booth, like with Paya and them, and our booth, we were the only 2 booths that drank back then.
Oh,
I don't know
right.
if you remember that, but like I remember like someone made a meme, like there was a meme contest once at Secret Sesh, and like the meme they made for my booth was like a picture of Ron Burgundy after the fight in the Anchorman when he's like got his like feet up on the desk and he's got a beer in his hand, and it was like every time I walked by Nature's Labs booth, and I was like, oh, it's hilarious, because we were always the ones that were drinking, and because we were all 21, so it was like we weren't breaking anything, but I remember a couple times like when it was like Ross would be like, bro, we're out of beer, and I was like, well. You could probably go talk to Payaso or Donnie. Like they're the only other people who are going to be drinking here besides us. So it was like, I remember at a certain point, like all our booths started getting closer and closer together.
No,
like,
right.
Because it's like, well, fuck, you might as well put us by them. They get down like us.
No, those are the good times too.
Yeah, they were tight. Those are good days. Yeah.
It was like 13.
Yeah, like 2013 to like 2015 really were like the really
The
crazy.
heydays, right?
And then like 2016 is like wasn't compliant yet, but there was like this light at the end of the tunnel to some people like, oh, it's gonna get compliant. And then 2017 was like, all right, end of the year. 2018 was just 2018. It's kind of like, all right, well, so are we all in the weed industry anymore, or like what just happened?
And then that's because they didn't have any shows for a while, right? And
Yeah.
then they started kind of bringing them back slowly but surely.
But they kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, like that first Smoke of the Day family reunion was the first show I went to that I was like, wow, this is tight. Like,
No,
it was
because
just like, but it was like the back in the day kind of thing. It was like everyone was just kind of hanging out.
But they have booths set up, people selling stuff, or was
Yeah.
it more just like a chill party?
There
and
was
like
probably
hanging out?
like, it was less than 10 booths, probably like set up selling stuff. But I mean, it was chill. Like everybody was there. It was just like the people that you're like, oh shit, I haven't seen you in years. Oh shit, I haven't seen you in years. Like you couldn't get all the conversations that you wanted in.
No,
And I
that's the
felt like that
worst.
was back in the day. Like it wasn't like, like it was like you could talk, like you and I would like kick it at like one of these events, and then there might be like 3 other people. I'm like, oh shit, if I run into them, I'd like to say hi, but there just wouldn't be enough time. It's like that's
Yeah.
how this one felt, where it was like, but in a good way, where it wasn't like, fuck, I didn't get enough done. It was just like, man, there's just so many good people to talk to. I just
You got
couldn't
left,
fit it all in.
like you never get to finish hardly any conversation. Like you always just
Yeah.
get pulled away at some point, or they do, or
Yeah, so it's cool because it's like if there were more events like that, like caliber, like I do more events out here then. But yeah, it's just like
I think once we get like smoking lounges more and more, like
oh yeah,
I would gladly go watch the UFC fight at a smoking lounge. Like a bar, I don't really drink too much, and then like
yeah,
if I didn't want to drink, like driving and all that, it's
yeah.
just a fucking headache, dude. Like I
Got
ain't
to
trying to
cap
get a
myself
DUI.
on like what I can drink and
Yeah,
like and then give myself an ample amount of time between like when I had that drink to when I'm actually gonna leave so that I'm not like,
fucking
fucked
yours
up.
off or some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, if we had like a smoking lounge where you go watch the fight and chill, like I mean, but it'd have to be close. Like I'm not gonna drive all the way across town
Fuck no.
to just to go chill.
I'm not
But
driving like 2 hours either. Like where it's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, it's in San Diego. It's like,
fuck,
yeah,
dude,
no.
no, can't do it. Um, fuck, I don't know. Is there anything else we should bring up? Or I mean, that was a good one. We got like an
Yeah.
hour and 41 in. I mean, I don't think I'm really gonna have to chop anything out because
No.
we didn't really have any dead time.
No. There wasn't even really any like pauses. There was like 2 pauses, I think, and they were like a couple seconds. So
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I think
no, I mean
we got
unless
this.
and I'm just down the road, so you can always hit me up and be like, yo,
no,
we need,
for sure.
if
And
we need something else or
no, and as
whatever.
it gets going, like I would like to have you come back, like
Yeah.
Often, because
Yeah.
hopefully, works
if
out
peop-
good. Like it benefits you.
If people
for
like
me.
it, I don't mind coming back and just reoccurringly come out to chop it up.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And then next time I'll make sure I have a torch and like some kind of rig too,
Yeah, I'll drive the car next time.
because that would be
bring some
cool to
rig.
like, because that's the whole segment. Because I kind of want to like, I didn't really have any plan this time, but next time or like in the future, because I could do like one video, but like imagine like at a hour and a half or whatever when we started dying down on talking, then I pull up like a couple YouTube videos or like 5 Instagram reels of some funny shit, laugh about that, haha, react to it, and then I could cut those out from the interview or whatever and drop that separately, like me and Marcus reacting to
Yeah, just chopping it
YouTube
up.
videos, me and
Smoking
Marcus
and
reacts
chilling.
into this, and then the interview too. So it's like instead of I can make like 2-3 pieces of content essentially out of one sit down.
Oh yeah.
So that like all these little things I've been like trying to map out in my head and try to figure the first one, but I mean the only thing I've really seen happen is I don't know why, but this screen kind of went over to the right a little bit. But everything else seemed to work and go good. So this, I'll just crop it at the end, like right here, like around, and
Yeah, it
put it
don't
in.
matter.
But
I mean,
for some reason, I don't know how
Stuff
that
is stuff.
happened.
oh the black
This
the
little
black
black
thing?
line right here,
Okay.
like, because that's the screen open. But
Oh.
when I put it in editing, I'll just crop it out here and then fill it in. But
Yeah.
that's the only little hang up.
Shit,
that
I mean,
think
you
I've
almost
seen.
you just put something in there. You know what I mean? Weed leaves or junk drawer style shit on the borders.
No, for sure. That's because eventually I'd like to try to do sometimes live too, like on Twitch and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Twitch is interesting. It's like you can give donations and like stuff like
No,
that. and
that's where you
tips.
start making money, dude. When people want to donate and ask questions, because that'd be like a segment too. Like if we were live, then at the end,
You could
whoever
ask
asks questions, we could just go through them and talk to them or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you're that poppin', you just turn the camera on and questions start coming, and you don't even get a chance to talk. You just totally engaged with the fucking
That's tight.
chat. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this. That's why I just, at least building it in my
start.
garage, like I ain't got to pay rent. I ain't got to go anywhere. Like,
No, and you can change
know?
shit.
yeah.
You want to change shit. You want to change your set. You want to change anything. You got full control. You're not just like kind of sequestered to like this corner that they have you at.
Yeah. And then, and just extra bills or whatever.
Yeah.
Because my one homie has like a little, like, it's like an office building, but he's like in one of it's like some people have music studios in here. Some people kind of like offices, but it's more like creative. But he has like a little 2-room, but it's probably like 3/4 the size of my garage,
Yeah.
maybe even half the size. But yeah, it's just extra bill,
Yeah.
all that. Where
The one homie's
at
got
least
that.
you got the garage. It's like freebie.
The one homie runs that Dank Labs above Woodland Hills, like
Oh,
cookies,
yeah.
and that
What
shit
is it?
just seems like a headache. It's like that's a bill. It's not, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but like your garage is almost the same size.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
that little
like-
office that's up on the top,
Yeah,
right?
it
That
used to
they
be the
built in.
loft. Yeah,
What was the loft?
the loft was that.
But
Dank Labs.
what went on at the loft?
Oh, it was a weed store.
Oh, back in the day
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they took the address and built downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was a
So
weed
when
store,
they
it was the
put
shop. And then it was
cookies
the
there,
loft.
it just was nothing up there.
Yeah. Then the guys from like Must Be Nice, I think, have it now, and that's Dank Labs.
But I see like Adam going there.
Yeah, they use it as like a production studio.
So they
it's
rent
like
it
a
out.
rentable production studio.
See that? Like if I'm gonna go for it, in my mind, I'm gonna build something at my house that's mine,
Yeah.
rather than going and renting something somewhere
I think it's a bad
that's
idea.
generically not mine.
It's a cool concept, but like it's not functional.
But
like
it's also a music studio
this
too,
is
right?
Yeah, but like you got but then you're back to kind of what you were saying. You gotta rent it out. Like that's
No,
a job.
right, yeah.
Like now you're like spending your time trying to rent out something versus like this is your garage. You can like use it when you need to.
And tax
not use
write
it
off.
when you need to. Yeah, and it's tax
The
write-off.
garage.
Yeah. Exactly. Now you got like what 10 by 10 or is this 20 by 20?
Probably like
or
almost
15 by 15 probably.
15 by 15 almost.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, shit, that's a decent little write off.
No, for sure. And then if I walk around filming outside or any time in my house, then I can maybe get
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
you
thing.
definitely get your yard and shit like that. Make that.
But yeah,
People you interview got to pee.
no, right?
You know what I mean? So there's a bathroom right there.
That's
you know what I mean?
takes up a good part.
And and they have to walk to your bathroom
To
too.
the
So
house.
that means the entire walk to the bathroom counts.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
My dad used to be a CPI.
No,
CPA,
and when you
so
have
it's
a good
like,
CP
yeah.
on your side, you know it because
Yeah.
they bring up all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was tripping on the Dank Labs a little bit when I seen them opening it and just going for it, and I was just kind of like,
It's gonna cost a lot.
yeah.
It's on Ventura Boulevard, basically.
And then you need to like if you're gonna rent it out for music, I'm sure they get that. But if someone's gonna podcast there, like you're gonna want someone like, oh, you're gonna film here once a week, like you're gonna try to get that like the
Yeah.
max out of it, or like maybe someone's just because there are a lot of podcasters that are traveling through town, like Nelk Boys when they do it. But normally when they do it, you'll see them like go at a restaurant or a bar or a club in the daytime when it's closed. Like
Yeah.
I think they rent out clubs, kinda.
That's smart because they go for downtime when it's like it's gonna be cheap
And
they
it's
know what
going to be
they're doing.
open. It's
Yeah.
wide open. There's a lot more room.
Yeah,
then-
Dank Labs is tiny.
Small,
Super
yeah.
tiny. Like I mean, it's like you can't like. There, I was there and Squint showed up to like do like a talk about doing like a strain review. Like I'm gonna drop a strain. I can just rent this place out and like that's what they were trying to sell him on. And it's just like,
He's like, it's
Yo,
too
dude.
small.
how many people are you gonna invite? Because Squint's like, yo, I'll invite you and like start kind of talking. And I'm like, yo, dude, like that's cool. Like, but like you don't need to invite me if you're gonna invite like the satellite crew and the foreign crew because just between those two, like that's it. Like you're full. Like
And then they probably can't have people hanging in the parking lot because it's a dispensary, right?
yeah, that's the other concern I would have for it. Like as the guy renting it, it's like, yo, so like BCC comes by and I'm smoking weed up here, and they knock on my door when they're doing an inspection downstairs, and I'm smoking weed up here. Like, I know that can't look good because, like, yeah, I get it's not on the premises, but it is still on the premises. It's like
kind of hear it, but you hear it in your heads, right? If
yeah,
it
here
goes
in
in
the
and
heads,
out.
yeah. But it's like it's weird. It's like you would think like they would be like all about like oh that's not quite safe for our license. It costs us money and renewals.
No,
and
it's
makes
risky.
money, and they're just like, but fuck it. Like we need the $3,000 a month or whatever that we're gonna pull from renting that. It's like it just doesn't seem like a good idea.
Or the marketing they think they're gonna get from it too, kind of for having it there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird stretch, but
I mean, it's cool. Like I've gone there and like chilled and kicked it, but it's just like, it's just weird.
it
like-
should almost be like I don't know, but maybe like a private lounge for like people that buy a lot from that cookies and like can
Yeah.
buy and then maybe go up there and
Because
private lounge it
the
out. Maybe I don't know.
Goat Global did that. Like at their spot in LA, they've got a lounge above stairs. It's like if you spend a certain amount of money, you just get a free entry to it. And they've done a couple pop-up events there. They were pretty tight.
I heard about him a lot. One of my homies that I work with goes by there. It's
Yeah.
like far though. Oh, my fuck.
Yeah, it's like Westwood, the one that I went to. That's definitely a fucking. I mean,
yeah,
I
it's
went
like
for
the
their
Papa
opening.
one, right?
Yeah, I went to the grand opening, and it was a drive for sure. But I mean, we're doing like a custom like Nature's Lab shelf in their extract side, where it's like they're giving us like a little bit of real estate to just design out, build out, and then sell to them.
No, my homie said they carry pretty much everybody, right? That's popping.
They got
ish?
like the Zushi, like all the stuff that you like burning ropes, like stuff that you see that's like super hype. Like they got all that super hype stuff. Like even they've got like the pound bags sitting out on like display just as like a display item,
No, that helps.
So
for
it's
sure.
definitely catered to like the guys who are definitely like going after like the most hype of the hype.
No, like look at
They've
these
got
4
everything.
pimp bags I got.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just like, can't do it, dude.
Right.
Can't do it. When I'm tapped and I ain't got nothing, I'll go for sure. But
Yeah. Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
most part, but dude, lately when I ain't have nothing, I just go to the cookies right here, and they got not connected, but what's the other dude? Alien Labs.
Same thing as connected.
3 for 2.
Yeah.
So you buy 2, get 1 free, which, fuck it.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like 130 for 3/8. Like, I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, I still got a few local plugs. You know what I mean? If I'm running low, I'll just be like, hey, like
No, the problem
rolling
is
by.
most of them, like, they want to give you a whole one. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's
I'll
true.
just give you a whole one and pay me when you can. You're like, dude, I just need something to smoke. Or, you know, if it's bomb, like, fuck it. Yeah, but it's like, dude, I want to buy this whole thing, bro. Like, it's not something I want. Because that's how I've gotten lately. Like, I just got to say no, bro. Like, if it ain't something I want, I would just rather not have nothing than,
They have trash.
yeah,
I'm with you on that.
because, like,
Not
you
trying
know.
to punish my lungs.
yeah, and then
That's what I
sometimes
feel like
you can
when
let
I
it
do
sit
it.
there, and enough people will want to save money and ask for the cheap stuff to where you could have it, but
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah, it's a buzzkill.
I'd rather just wait and fucking,
Have some decent.
yeah, and there's, dispensary or something decent. But that's why I was asking earlier, like, I kind of feel like it's sort of plateaued, like, every once in a while I'll see something nice and sticky and bomb, but for the most part, it's like,
Not often.
it's just, it's good, not fully sticky. It don't taste bad, don't taste great.
But if you had
but
a
it
pound of
works.
it and you grabbed it out of the bag, it's definitely not going to come out like a football.
No,
You know, like,
no.
you don't see too much flour like that anymore. Where like you're grabbing the bag and you're like, holy shit! Like I remember
And-
pouring out pounds and having to like separate it. You know
And
what I mean?
that's
Like,
from the fluorescence, right? Kind of
yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like doing that switch. It's
back
been-
to the double-ended. No,
Yeah.
for sure. I had someone show me some stuff that he has 2 spots, and he was like, "Look," and I was just like, "Oh fuck."
yeah,
like,
double in a bulb versus like the LED. I mean, LEDs are great. Don't get me wrong, especially in like these like states where they got like some fucking eco plan where you have to be like have certain amount of environmental impact. And they won't let us like use like double ended bulbs, but it's better pot,
No, for sure.
like no doubt.
And
you
for the
know?
extract side too, right? Even
Yeah.
for you guys, like you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
the difference.
Yeah. I can see the difference. There was a few strains back in the day, like that Spacewalker. Under an LED, it did better as an extract.
Oh, wow.
But it was like a short list of strains that were like that, you know.
No, that's why weed's all different, dude. It's like a thumbprint or fingerprint. Like
Yeah, so
none of
unique,
it's the same, you know. And like
all unique.
that's like a lot of times, like kind of like even with the taste maker like thing, like to really give a strain like I feel like a chance, like you got to really like push it and go through it and try it all these ways and see. I hope they can't hear that when they're watching.
Doubt it.
I'm gonna have to figure out. It's like a notification tab I got to turn off.
Yeah, turn off the noise.
But yeah, I fucking totally forgot what I was saying. But no, I think we covered a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, is that good?
I'm cool.
No, for sure. Hell yeah, I appreciate you coming, bro.
No problem,
You're
man.
the
Thanks for having me. Hope, haha.
man.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Fucking. Now I got my little green screen right here. I could get a picture of you so I can make the little thumbnail.
For sure.
But all right, y'all. Thank y'all. Follow, like, subscribe. Oh, I got a shout out where they can find you, like all your followings and everything.
Hold on, I'm just gonna do one of these real close pictures. I don't wanna crop that. Yeah. So our social media is natures_lab_extracts. We have been deleted a few times, as you can tell.
No, they like to do that.
But and then we've got I think we've got a Twitter now that's Nature's Lab Extracts. We've got a Reddit now that's Nature's Lab. Basically, if you look up Nature's Lab Extracts, just make sure you verify it's us. There's like a lot of fake telegrams and shit out there these
Do
days.
you got one of those link trees like on your Instagram
Yeah,
or
yeah,
things
yeah.
that have all your verified accounts that you
Yeah,
made?
we do. If you go to our Instagram, it won't connect you to a straight Telegram. It'll connect you to a link tree that's got everything. So yeah, that's
That's good because
that's the easiest way to tell.
then you can like even those cost money. I was looking into them the other day. I think even those things cost money too, right?
No, you
Like
can do one
good
for
ones?
free. You can do a basic one for free. Like the one we did was a free one. And it works really well. and it
But
links everything. But I mean,
they do have some that cost though, right? That
oh
have
yeah,
more like little options or
yeah,
whatever.
they definitely have some that are a lot more expensive. But I mean, like like our basic one does everything ish.
No, yeah, that's exactly. So that way they can find you and not be bullshitted.
Yeah, and I
You
usually
know?
put like any like the interviews and stuff like that. I'll usually put up on there too, just so
Oh,
people have like a
nice.
direct link on that.
Hell yeah.
Never hurts, never hurts. But that's just a basic one. I mean, yeah, easy to work with.
Nice. No, I'm gonna have to make one of those soon too. I just had someone message me this morning, a fake account. Someone was trying to sell 'em weed with another fake account. It's been a while since I've even seen one, but
Oh
I guess
man,
they're back.
dude, they never went away, man.
No, I know. Maybe
I think I've reported like a fake Besco account, like I don't know, like at least once every 3 months.
so crazy. And
Yeah.
they just tell you there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
So that's why I just got over it.
There's like 2 or 3. Actually, there's like I think 4 or 5 fake Nature's accounts now.
And you report them, and they say, "Oh, nothing against our guidelines."
I actually have like reported them and then made a post about reporting them, and then seen those accounts like repost my repost, like where it's just like, damn, they just use that as advertisement, son of a bitch, like.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's like at a certain point, like you just gotta kind of ignore it, and then like when people hit me up and they're like, "Yo, is this you?" It's like absolutely not. This is our only social media.
that's
Like, I got
that's
a
all you can
personal and
do
I've got
is
this, and that's it.
be like, "This is it, dude."
Yeah.
Because it's just so crazy. Like the guy that messaged me earlier and was like, he's like, I seen it was you, so I messaged the guy, and then he said he didn't have access to the Instagram account because mine has more followers than all these fake ones. And he's like, but then you accepted my friend request, and now you're answering me here. And I'm like, bro, they're fake accounts, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I hope you didn't fall for it. I don't even bring that up anymore because I don't even want to start the conversation if someone lost money
Yeah.
because that's not my fault, dude. Like,
There's nothing you
someone
can do about
DM'd
that.
you, fucking sent you a menu that was beyond, like, bro, these people send me the menu these people send, bro. It's like the biggest menu that a fully stocked dispensary would have, but yet a trapper has it, and then everything is like half price. Like,
Yeah.
do you
Like, come on,
believe
man.
that? Like,
Yeah,
what world do you live in?
One of the scam accounts for us, he hits people up and tells them that he's gonna send them a free like I'm gonna send you free hash. You just need to send me $100 to cover shipping. And
Oh,
dude,
wow.
it is insane how many people were like, "That sounds like a hell of a deal." I didn't even know about it until a couple people who knew me were like, "Yo, is this you?" And like screenshotted the conversation. I was like, "Yo, why would I reach out to you on social media? Like if I was gonna give you samples of some new stuff that we ran, number one, you live right down the road. What the fuck am I charging you $100 shipping for?" And I would just call you and be like, "Yo, roll through." It'd be like if you got a DM from me that was like on social media, it'd be like, "Yo, dude, I got sample pack for you. Send me." It's like, you could have called me. I would have driven down the road and
It's just
picked
like,
up the
I
sample
hope these
pack.
people,
What the fuck is this?
like, I just hope these people don't fucking like. Are you that gullible? Like, are you
Yeah.
living in a world where you just want to like, I don't know, just
Stuff usually doesn't get handed to you like that. Like you usually got to work a little harder to get like stuff. Like
yeah, no, it's
fire
it's a
doesn't just
trip.
come to you like that usually.
They just think, oh fuck, I got the plug, or
Yeah.
just
We're living in that era where like like that's the other thing too is it trips me out that like they think that like a big established brand is gonna be like hard up for $100. It's like, yeah, I don't think those people are gonna be like the $100. You know what I mean? It's just like this is weird, that, especially how thirsty you can see like in the text messages. Because like one of my buddies like started fucking with a guy, like hard, like
no, right?
like, oh man, like I wish I knew where to send this money to. Like like I've got the money right here. Like sends picture of him holding the money. Like shit like that. Just dumb shit. Just riling him up, getting him really pissed. Like, oh, you just need to send it here. Like. And it's just like, well, dude, if you're that hard up for this $100, like, you need him to send you this $100 for samples. Like, you seem really riled up about it. You know what I mean? If it was a hassle, you'd just be like, whatever, I'm done.
Nah.
Like cut break, leave.
Yeah, this one guy that got he's in like $300 or something. This is years ago, but the name, the person had him go to Western Union, and the name on it was like an African name, like Nigerian or African name or whatever. And
Yeah.
I was just like, bro, look at me, look at my picture. Do you anywhere think my name? Like I couldn't even pronounce it. It was like a tribal name, or I mean I don't even know, but I couldn't even pronounce it.
Yeah.
And I'm like.
That's not me.
Bro, like, do you really think that would, like, come on, playa?
Yeah.
Like you deserve to learn your lesson, and I hope you never do it again. And I hope
Yeah.
$300 let you off cheaply to not believe in
Yeah.
shit.
I hope
you
that
know?
wasn't your rent. I hope that didn't like fuck up your life. But yeah, you need to learn your lesson on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Like no one's just gonna hit you up to be like, yeah, dude,
Let me
make
just.
this real easy for you.
Fucking people are a trip.
Yeah.
But all right, said later, and then we
For
fucking went
sure.
on. So all right,
All
later.
good. Later.
Follow, like, subscribe.